Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Welcome in. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here, Charlie Usen back in the studios doing his thing. Coming up on the show today, guest-free, kind of, for the first 2 hours. Then we get going into the 4 o'clock hour. We always end the Friday show with Follow the Money with Austin Herdania, the Potawatomi Sportsbook manager, coming up at 4:40. So looking forward to talking to him and seeing where all the money is being placed. Also, at 4:20 every Friday, we do Plead the Fifth, brought to you by Havish, and Rotier. Your opportunity to tell somebody to hush it. Could be friends, family, players, coaches, talk show hosts, radio, TV. Doesn't really matter who it is. You can have your say at that point. If you want to start nominating people now for that 420 segment, feel free. 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. Other side over there is Charlie Usen. We're going to start off talking about the Milwaukee Brewers and Braves coming up tonight. And I would say it's a fairly big series, in my opinion, at least, as you look at where the Braves are, where the Brewers are in this whole thing going into it. And part of the reason why I think it's a big deal is because the first two best records get buys in the MLB playoffs. And the Brewers are sitting right now, I believe, a half game behind. Let me see. I just want to make sure I have the exact number correct. Behind the Braves for that second seed in the playoffs, which again would get you that half game back. So that's why this is a big deal, because any type of tiebreaker that comes into play here becomes fairly large. And that is why when they decided they weren't going to pitch Miz in that Guardian series, I was like, okay, that's okay, because this Brave series far bigger than any series you're going to play in the American League. Coming into this thing, the Braves 46-27, the Brewers 45-27, the Braves 24-14 on the road, and 22-13 at home. The Brewers 25-15 at home, 20-12 on the road. So really, both teams playing well home and away. Run differential that favors the Milwaukee Brewers at plus 116. The next closest in the Brewers division in run differential are the Pirates, who are one game over 500 at plus 14. Again, I think run differential is something that you look at and you really can determine who the really, really good teams are. The best team in baseball right now are the Dodgers. I know, you're shocked. At plus 144. But after that, 118 for the Yankees, 116 for the Brewers, and 100 for the Braves. And I think we would all agree, Charlie, that those are the four best teams in baseball right now.
Oh, by far. I think you look at the next closest teams in these divisions, the St. Louis Cardinals in the National League. I don't really believe in them to be a long-term success all season. I'll give them credit. They've played better longer than I expected them to already. This past month, they've been really great. Their pitching staff has found ways to look really good. Dustin May looks really good for them. So I'll give them some credit, but they just haven't earned that same kind of title, same kind of tier as those other four teams that you brought up. The Phillies are the same kind of way. They're being carried by two really good starting pitchers and three really good bats. And outside of that, the rest of their team is not playing that well. And it's really obvious when they start going up against better teams that are out there dominating them, like the last time Jacob Mizorowski was on the mound 1 week ago, where he just dominated them on a Friday night. That was so cool to be a part of. I think you look at the rest of the league, it feels like those four teams are not just the tier ahead, but almost like 2 or 3 tiers ahead, a lot of these other teams below them.
You know, that's the one thing I think you talk about with where the Brewers are versus everybody else. The Dodgers have 2, 3 starters, 4 guys out right now with injuries. The Braves are battling pitching issues in their rotation. The Brewers find out that they lose Priester for the year and he's out. Woodruff is getting ready to get back into the rotation, but he's been out for quite a while too. It really is, the battle of depth right now in Major League Baseball.
It really is. And I think when you look at what the Brewers have been able to do to find this depth at almost every position, where it's a lot of new guys, a lot of young guys that have been able to hold their own, you feel really comfortable that when they get into these stretches where you see guys are injured for this Milwaukee Brewers team, you don't freak out at all. I think when the Cubs started losing pitchers, especially in that bullpen, when they started losing pitchers, a lot of fans started freaking out. The team has started freaking out. You can see that in the way Craig Counsell does all of his press conferences. It seems like he never knows what's going on, and that's scary for an organization like that. The Milwaukee Brewers figure it out all the time. It feels like they got 3 rows of starting pitching. It feels like they got 2 bullpens on this team. Whenever a bat goes down, you're never too concerned that their long-term kind of outlook is going to change because you know that somebody will be able to come in and hold their own at least. The Brewers have, I think, the best depth in baseball, and they show it night in, night out.
Okay, my question is this for you Brewers fans. How big of a deal do you think this is, this series against the Braves? Obviously, when you play your division, it becomes a very big deal. When you play the Cubs, it becomes an even bigger deal at that point. This isn't that. This isn't the Cardinals. This isn't the Cubs. This is the Braves. But this is potentially for determining postseason standing. Now, some believe if you have a bye in the opening round of the playoffs, like last year the Brewers did, right? And they're just kind of doing practices at American Family Field, buying time, waiting to get into their first series, that actually helps you, right? Maybe you get a little rested, maybe a little rust for 3-4 days off in a row, because you don't get that outside of the All-Star break during the course of a Major League Baseball season. Others think, well, that's good. You get some rest, revitalize them, get a little bit more energy, and this actually helps the team. Do you have a stance on this one way or the other as far as how big of a deal that bye truly is? I look at it, and as we were just talking about it being a battle of depth right now, in June, we are in June, and we're talking a battle of depth of starting pitching between Atlanta, the Dodgers, the Brewers. The Cubs, they're not anywhere close to the Milwaukee Brewers at this point, and the Cubs starting pitching rotation is absolutely jacked as well with numerous guys out there. They thought they were getting Justin Steele back. He had a setback, and he wasn't able to come back. They've already lost a couple of guys for the season. So the Cubs haven't been able to overcome their injuries, and that's what really has separated, the Dodgers and the Braves and the Brewers are. They're able to overcome their pitching injuries and still play at a high level. 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Let's go to Justin in Watertown. You're up first here on Wisconsin Sports Daily with me, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. What's up, Justin?
Hey, Sparky. How you doing?
Doing good, buddy.
So I like this conversation, not because, Atlanta's a rival or anything like that, but I like the fact that we're talking about seeding in the playoffs in June as opposed to are we going to win our division, right? This really puts a good perspective on where the Brewers are as an organization. We're not about winning the division anymore. We're about getting to that World Series. In order to do that, you got to be seeded well. And so I think that is just great to see kind of how the Brewers are doing and kind of where they're at. So is it an important series? Yes. Tiebreakers are important. You want to get that 2 seed or 1 seed if possible. It's not a rivalry in any way, but it just kind of puts perspective as where the Brewers are, which is awesome.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I think the other part about it, too, from a Brewers perspective is it really is kind of a measuring stick at this point, right? It's kind of a, okay, we played the Dodgers. That didn't go as well as we wanted. Well, here's the other big heavyweight right now in the National League. And you kind of want to, show everybody that it's for real, especially because you're pitching Miz and Harrison. This is the reason why everybody thinks the Brewers can go to the World Series, because of these two guys being in a playoff series gives you every chance to win. So you're hoping that these two guys show up and show out now in this series against one of the best teams in baseball.
Yeah, and outside of the Dodgers, we've handled every other team so far. So if we can go out and show that we can handle ourselves against the Braves, we really are that second best team in Major League Baseball, which then really puts into that question, who are we getting at the trade deadline? Is it worth it to go all in this year?
Yeah, and again, thanks for the call. Obviously, when you say all in, that means Madej gets traded, and I'm not there. I'm not doing that.
When you have 8 top 100 prospects, though, does that mean Madej gets traded? When you have that much capital, that can mean a Luis Pena gets traded. And I think that's still a super high rated prospect for you, but it's still an all in type of move because he is such a high rated prospect. I think for some other teams, it would just be Madej. That would be the all in type of move. But the Brewers have more than that. I think they can move more than that, be more creative than that.
I was having this conversation with Tommy. I think it was, we were texting back and forth. Maybe it was last night. I don't remember. Talking about Luis Pena. And he was like, they're going to eventually have to trade him. but he's got to, not get hurt and not be fainting in the dugout and having issues going on, which I totally agree. I just don't. If I'm trading Luis Pena, I'm trading it for somebody I'm going to have more than at a rental, right? So if I'm trading Luis Pena, then it's going to be for, say, Joe Ryan, where I get him for the second half of this year, and I get Joe Ryan for all of next year under contract to be in this rotation. So I want 2 postseasons with whatever stud starting pitcher I'm getting if I'm moving Pena. Now, if I'm moving Lara or something like that, by all means, go ahead, go do what you got to do for a rental. That one I'm not as concerned about. But Pena, I think, is high-end talent, could be a potential all-star. And I'll go, again, if he's healthy and everything that goes along with it, I need more than a rental if I'm going to trade him. Now, the Brewers have, obviously, their own opinions of, who they're willing to trade, who they're not willing to trade. I've said it before. I'm not trading Midday, and I'm not trading Andrew Fisher. Like, there's absolutely no chance I'm trading either one of these guys. You look at the pitching matchup tonight for the Brewers, Mizorowski against Martin Perez going for the Atlanta Braves. I mean, Perez comes in 6-3 with a 2.9 ERA. Mizorowski 1.34 ERA. I mean, both of these pitchers are good. But again, the favorite is Mizorowski. The one nice thing I like about it from a Brewers perspective with this game coming up tonight, and again, leadoff show 5-6 with Tommy Wirtz, and after the last pitch, you make the switch. Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show with the franchise Tim Allen tonight, along with Tommy Wirtz after the game, talking about this Brewers-Braves game, is Mizorowski gets up for games like this. Mizorowski gets up when the lights are brightest. Mizorowski gets up. He said it after the last game, I get up when it's bigger markets that we're facing. Why? Because there's more people watching. There's more media talking to you and covering the game and so forth. And he likes being in the spotlight. He thrives being in the spotlight. So if we're rolling the dice of will we get good Miz or great Miz tonight, I would roll the dice, Charlie, and think we're probably going to get great Miz tonight against the Atlanta Braves.
And when we get great Miz, I think we usually get an offense that feels rejuvenated and feels ready to go because he's so energized and he's so fired up. Again, you saw that on Friday. You got 6 runs out of that offense to give him a nice base to work with, make him feel comfortable. I can see that happening again tonight with Martin Perez, who is more of a to-contact type of pitcher, and this Brewers team knows how to turn those contact type of plays into hits better than any other team in baseball. I trust them to be able to do that, and then also, in turn, give Jacob Mizorowski a nice lead to work with where he can just go out there, feel comfortable, but still be energized like you're talking about.
When do you think Cooper Pratt gets an off day? He's played all 3 days since they called him back up. There's no off day now. They play the next 3. So does he play all 3 days in this Braves series, or is he going to get a day off Friday, Saturday, or Sunday here where you see Ortiz and Hamilton in the lineup together again?
I think Sunday would probably be the day he gets off if he does get a day, but I also think you want to see, how long he can go. I think as a team where you're going to rely on him potentially to be the starting shortstop for the rest of the season, you want to see the type of stamina a young player like that has, especially at the major league level where it feels different than when you're playing at the AAA or playing in the minor leagues in general. You have to go out there, and I think you have to use your energy wisely, and I think you have to test him on that first, especially against a couple really tough opponents in Cleveland and Atlanta.
So I want to let you all behind the scenes a little bit here, getting ready to go our first break here. So I was on the phone with Charlie before we were doing our show meeting. Then my phone died, and I knew it was about to die, but that's no big deal. I got my phone charger in my backpack. I was just going to plug the phone charger in, and we'll be all set. So I get over here to where it's all set up at Summerfest, right over here by the hole-in-one, brought to you by X Golf. Your chance to win $5,000. The first person hit a hole-in-one, as far as I know, it hasn't happened yet. First person hit a hole-in-one wins $5,000. So still your chance to come out here. 3 balls, $10. More than worth your time and effort. Let your kids do it, man. They'll have a good time doing it.
Chuck Arbedian says anybody can do it.
Yeah. Did you hear about this morning? What happened this morning?
I did not hear what happened this morning. No.
Trevor told Josh on Inside Wisconsin Sports that he was going to Venmo him $10 to try it. He goes, but it has to be on video. And he's like, well, that's cool. After the show, Sparky will video me. After the show, Sparky can video me. And I'm like, okay, fine. I'll video you, whatever. Then I find out later it's 7:30. I'm not staying here till 7:30. But anyways, so $10. So Josh is like, yep, okay, sounds good. So then they get to crosstalk, and they have Rami Makaloff on from 9 to noon. And Trevor goes, I'm just giving this dude $10. He's like, so I got to have a way to make my $10 back, so at least I break even in this thing. He's like, Rami, do you think Josh is going to hit on the green? He goes, I got $10 that says he hits it on the green. Rami starts laughing. He's like, yeah, no, that's not happening. He's not going to get it onto the green. So then they bet $10 that Josh won't hit it onto the green. Then he wanted me to get in. And I'm like, dude, he is not hitting it onto the green. There's 3
Josh doesn't
shots.
like
That's all he
golf or
gets.
anything, right?
If
Like
you-
I've never heard him.
He
golf.
said, I don't know, but he is a bowler. So
Okay.
normally bowlers and golfers are
fair.
normally, if one's good at one, they're probably good at the other or decent. He said he has hit it onto the green before, but he only gets 3 shots at it. He goes, so if we're being honest, I doubt it. Right? I doubt I'm going to make it onto the green. So anyways, so that's a little story about that. So phone dies. I sit down, use my phone charger. It doesn't work. Phone's still dead.
Of course, yeah.
So then I was like, okay, Summerfest store is right over behind us from where we're set up.
Right.
So I was like, all right, I got like 18 minutes. I was like, okay, I'm going to go walk over there. I'll be right back. Go in the Summerfest store. Lots of cool stuff. Clothes, all kinds of different stuff you can buy. Earbuds, or I don't know if they're earbuds or if they're earplugs. I don't know, something for your ears in there. So then I was like, hey, you got a phone charger? Yeah, no, we don't sell those. Okay. So I come out of the Summerfest store. As I'm walking back to our setup, right there on the corner is a Generac station.
Yeah, perfect.
I was like, oh, because we're by the Generac stage.
Right.
Oh, that's cool. I look, and it's these like portable chargers, and they have all these different type of phone cables coming out of them. I was like, sweet. I can charge it a little bit. I'll just go over there and charge it in every commercial break for like 5 minutes, and
Yeah.
we'll build it back up. So I come back over to the table, get my phone, walk back over there, plug it in. None of them are turned on. None of the chargers are turned on. So then I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm screwed on my phone. So I emailed Charlie. I tell Charlie. So now I go like, well, at least I'll be able to sign into X and be able to see that. So I go to sign into X.
I think we lost him in the middle of his story here. That is all right. This is Wisconsin Sports Daily. We're going to try to figure out this little bit of a sound issue that we got going on here on Sparky's side of things. He's also going to go try to find a phone charger, I think, in that time. Maybe we can ask somebody to help him get that charger. But in the meantime, again, this is Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. I'm Charlie Houston, producing this show, and hosting is my guy, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. We will be right back. Welcome back into Wisconsin Sports Daily. I am Charlie Houston. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer is out at Summerfest right by the Hole-in-One Challenge, sponsored by X Golf. Right now, having a little bit of a technical difficulty over there on his side of things, so I'll cover a little bit while he's over there trying to get that figured out. That shouldn't mean you shouldn't go visit him for a little bit. Go try out the X Golf Hole-in-One Challenge. It's a lot of fun. First hole-in-one of Summerfest will get $5,000, a pretty awesome prize. If you want to go out there and try to win it, Garbedian on Golf, 7-9, Chuck Garbedian. He's the guy to go to when you want to learn everything about golf that's happening Saturday mornings. Chuck said it's super easy. Chuck said he's got it. Chuck said I could probably go out there and do it. I don't really play golf all that much. I've been learning a lot as I've been on air with Chuck over the last month or two, but he says anybody can do it. You can also hear College Sports Weekly from 9 to 11 over there on Saturday mornings. Again, that's right after Garbedian on Golf. Yours truly, Charlie Houston, produces both of those shows there on Saturday mornings. We were just talking some Milwaukee Brewers and what your expectations are for the series against Atlanta coming up here, whether or not you think this is an important series for the Milwaukee Brewers, even though it's this early in the season. We're still in June. It's still early on, but the Braves are one of the top 4 teams in the league along with the Brewers, and that's an extremely important position to be in if you can go out there and take control of a series this early on in the year. We did want to move on over to the Milwaukee Bucks, though. As the NBA draft approaches here next Tuesday from 6 to 9, you can join us here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network as we have Brandon Snide of 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff. He'll be joined by Brian Butch as they do the Pro Hoops draft show over there from the Potawatomi Sportsbook. I'll be back here producing that show. It should be a lot of fun. But the Milwaukee Bucks, as we sit, have the number 10 pick in the NBA draft. And there's a lot of speculation about whether or not they move that pick, whether or not that pick is going to be one that they can move forward with and have more than one pick in this upcoming draft. As we take a look at what the Bucks are going to do with that pick, we've been asking the question about whether or not they're going to trade that pick, whether or not that pick is going to be in their possession. And right now, the Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis Antetokounmpo are trying to find out if he's going to be a part of the Milwaukee Bucks, if he's going to be traded at some point before the NBA draft here. This is Sam Amick of The Athletic. He's been one of the lead kind of investigators in this Giannis trade saga as it sits. He was discussing on Run It Back about the Bucks giving him deja vu compared to this past season's trade deadline and where they sit with the current timeline of trading Giannis or not.
It's another, it feels like deja vu a little bit from the February trade deadline from the standpoint of the Bucks are going slower than people wanted them to. Now, granted, the deadline at the draft is the deadline, but it feels like they are closer or farther rather from making a final decision at this point than people thought they would be, because you have all this noise. Miami, I do still think, is out in front. Boston is actually, absolutely in it. But Boston's issue, and they're not the only team here, is that they want clarity from Milwaukee on, for their own political locker room purposes. They can't be putting guys on the table only to have the Bucks say, no thanks, we're good. And they're trying to kind of thread that needle, if that makes sense. And so Orlando, I don't think Giannis winds up landing there. You've got a lot of personal ties for him with the Magic. Never say never, but the intel has been Miami out front, Boston trying to essentially cut them off and being serious about wanting Giannis, but none of these teams, at least as of yesterday and today, are being serious enough for the Bucks, meaning that it's just, again, I think they are somewhat underwhelmed by the totality of what they might get in this trade. Do I think that means they might push it through the draft and kind of, ignore their own deadline? Like, I'm probably still skeptical that they would do that, but that this week, that has been something people that are involved are saying, is like, maybe they push it back because they are acting still underwhelmed by what's available to them.
The one thing about what Sam Amick said, there I go, said again, that one thing about what Sam Amick said is it really feels like they don't want to move him. That's what it feels like. We're at the trade deadline. all rumors about all the stuff going on. They didn't move them. Now, here we are again. Jimmy has them. I got to know by the trade deadline or by the draft what's going to happen. All right, Jimmy. Now, still, nobody's heard from Giannis one way or the other publicly. Said nothing. I have no idea what's going on with him. And now, the draft is Tuesday, and we're hearing things are kind of slowing down here. Don't know now if this is going to happen or not. They may just wait until we get to the offseason. Now, who does that benefit? Well, it benefits Portland or Orlando, because Orlando doesn't have anything really in this year's draft to pony up. So it makes them now into play once we get past the draft, once these draft picks are gone. But as we've talked about before, with the draft lottery rules changing, you really don't know how valuable those picks really are. It's probably more of a crapshoot now than it ever was before, because now it's like, well, Giannis will be retired in 5 years from Portland, or from Boston, wherever he goes. So maybe year 4 or 5 from now, if we get one of those picks in like 2031 or 2032, he's at the end, he's banged up, he's hurt, they're not good. We get a top 3 pick. Now it's like, okay, he's banged up, he's hurt, they have the second worst record, and they're not even in the top 6 or whatever the case may be with these new dumb rules they're going to have. Makes it a little bit harder to determine how much value you really have in any type of future first-round pick that you get from any team at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem for the Milwaukee Bucks moving forward here. And I think that's also part of the reason a lot of these teams so far have decided that, I think in their mind, it's not also on their side of things worth trading a lot of those picks if they are going to be a better team, because it seems like those teams in the middle, the teams like the Milwaukee Bucks, not that this new draft lottery rule helps them per se, but it doesn't hurt them like I think it hurts a lot of the teams that are consistently at the bottom of the league. And if you get Giannis, you're going to at least be that middle of the league team. And I think then you have a lot more flexibility with trying to trade for picks moving forward too. So you don't want to trade your picks now, and with this uncertainty that's here in the draft lottery moving forward, I think the ones this year are super important because you know where they're going to be. You know right. What they're at. And I think the ones moving forward here, a lot of teams are valuing them more than the fan bases, than a lot of these insiders are giving them credit for valuing them. And I think that it's important that they keep a lot of those picks, especially if they're going to be a middle of the road team at worst.
The other problem with all of this, potential problem, and people have been bringing it up here, one NBA national reporter after another, which is, are people getting frustrated with the Bucks to the point of they don't trust the Bucks, that they're not going to back out again and then decide they're not going to do it and get cold feet? Because let's face facts, you cry wolf one too many times, people are going to stop coming. And that's this is going to be try number 2, in which really, they've cried wolf of, yeah, maybe we'll take some offers here, see what happens, and then they don't do anything. Okay. So now, the deadline's draft, got to do something, and potentially between now and Tuesday, nothing happens. And these NBA teams are going to be like, you know what? We're done. We'll just try and bid on him in the offseason and see if we can win him as a free agent. And then they really may get screwed at the end of the day if they can't seem to get something done at this point. Or is there potential infighting going on over there in the front office about what they want back in return versus what they're willing to take back in return? And is there potential infighting about the direction in which they're going, as far as maybe there's a faction over there that thinks they can compete now with Giannis and add something, and they don't want to go backwards for the next 10 years by making this move. They would rather try and go for it one more time with Giannis. And maybe there's another faction going, even if we do, he's out of here. Like, he won't commit to us. He hasn't been willing to commit to us for the last couple of years. We're sick of it. We want to go. So maybe there's some of that going on inside the Bucks front office. Again, that's complete speculation. I have no idea. But all of this is just very weird to me. This whole thing. And I'm seeing people online on social media going, if he ends up playing with the Bucks in October and he's still on the Bucks, like, all of these national NBA reporters should be fired. They should all lose their jobs, because now this is 2 summers in a row they've been wrong on everything they've been saying the entire time, because nothing ever happened in both summers. Now, do I think that's unfair? Absolutely, it's unfair. Like, they're just going off of what they're hearing.
Exactly. That doesn't mean that these, that doesn't mean these conversations aren't happening.
I think there is a percentage of this fan base in sports today, and I feel like a lot of it is younger people to a degree, or just like diehards that don't want to see their favorite player get traded. But I think there are a lot of people if it was up to them, there would be no insiders employed anywhere. There'd be no ESPN insiders for no Schefters, no Rapports, none of those guys. There'd be no NBA insiders, no Shams, no Stein. None of those guys would be around. See ya. None of those. Baseball, there would be nobody in baseball. No Jeff Passan, no Ken Rosenthal. And I think there's a percentage of fans that would be completely fine with, we'll wait till the press release gets sent out and everybody gets it at the same time. We don't want all the rumors and all the, quote, inside knowledge that all these guys are providing us, because we just get frustrated when they're wrong because we want them to be perfect every single time. I really think there are a portion of people that would be fine if all insiders were just fired across the board and they no longer existed.
Which is crazy. I think that's part of the fun of sports, is sitting there and listening to all these different rumors and being able to play fantasy GM and putting together and seeing what that team would look like if your favorite player was traded there, or that this guy is coming to your favorite team and he's a stud, and what can that look like, and having those conversations with your friends and being able to talk and argue and debate all that stuff. Like, that's fun. And then, yeah, sometimes, most of the time, they're going to end up wrong because there's a lot of other things happening that these insiders don't know, but they're doing what they can and they're sharing what they can. A lot of these guys, most of these guys aren't just sharing complete BS. They're going out there and doing the actual research and finding out these answers and sharing what they know. And just because it's wrong doesn't mean it later on doesn't mean it was wrong in the moment. I think that's fair to say that right now there's a lot of people that think that the Bucks are going to move on from Giannis, and that's what's being reported, is that the trade is most likely going to happen at some point here during this summer. But if it doesn't happen, that doesn't mean those guys were wrong in saying that it was almost happening. That just means things changed after they reported those stuff.
Okay, good news. We got my phone up to 6% thanks to our very talented promotions team over here. So this next break, I'm going to run back over there and charge it some more as we continue to try and work this back up. Let me tell you about my friends over there at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. There's a big new food menu over there at the Potawatomi Sportsbook kitchen, filled with a bunch of new items. All-day brunch with steak and eggs, a steak and bagel sandwich, pancakes, and more. Wisconsin-style appetizers that feature a lot of cheese. Of course, it's Wisconsin. It's got all things chicken like wings and tenders. Build your own burger. Desserts highlighted by the MVP Turtle Sundae. Tons of cold beverages. Over 40 different beers on tap at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Over a dozen different specialty cocktails to go along with it. Must be 21 to enter the casino. Bet above the rest. Check them out online now. Potawatomi Casino Hotel in Milwaukee by simply going to Potawatomi.com. Since we had those technical difficulties, I have no idea what we're going to next and what you did or did not do while I was off the radio. And what I was doing while I was on the radio was complaining about, hey, this is not going to be my day. My phone died. I can't get into my X account, because what I was saying was this. I was trying to get in my X account, right? And I told you that I'm probably going to need my phone to click on something. So sure enough, we can send it to one of these emails. Cool. So I have a Gmail account. So send in my Gmail account. Well, that's hooked up to our Odyssey account. So I go to do that, and guess what? I need my thumbprint or whatever on it. So that didn't work. Okay, fine. So then I go remember or forgot password. That sends it to my Yahoo account. So I go to my Yahoo account. Guess what? It's going to send to either my Gmail account or a text to my phone in order to get it
back
now.
up. Yeah.
No way of getting it. If your phone's dead, it's all done. It's all done. It's all done. At
Maybe
that point.
charge your phone, Sparky.
Dude, I'm so mad. I was like, thank God. So I'm at like 6%. So before this thing dies, I need to go charge it some more the next break. So what are we going to next, Charlie Usen?
All right. So we can either go to, if the Celtics offer Jaylen Brown for Giannis straight up, because that's the report that that's what the Celtics think Giannis is worth. Would you be willing to do that? Or we can keep going with it. There's one guy you want in this NBA draft and one you don't want. Who would they be? Sparky,
so that's what you were doing before I got on the air?
I just played that Sam Ahmed clip, and we were going to get there, and then we ended up talking more about.
That's fine. Let's do that coming up next.
Sure.
If there's one guy you want in this NBA draft, who is it? And one guy that you don't want in this draft on Tuesday night, who is it? We want one of each. Nicolay Law talk and text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, out here at Summerfest by the Hole-in-One Challenge, brought to you by X Golf. $10, get you 3 golf balls. First one to get a hole-in-one at Summerfest gets $5,000. That's the Hole-in-One Challenge, brought to you by X Golf. Welcome back. Wisconsin Sports Daily. See Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie Usen producing out here at Summerfest by the Hole-in-One Challenge, brought to you by X Golf. $10 get you 3 golf balls. First person to sink a hole-in-one on the island hole they have set up here gets $5,000. Just simply put the ball into the hole, and you get $5,000. If you're the first one. If you're the third, fourth one, you don't get $5,000. Only the first one gets it. Plus, you can check out their indoor golf simulator they have out here as well. So love to see you out here. Come say hi. Hang out with us out here till 5 o'clock this afternoon. We're out here each and every Thursday and Friday doing Wisconsin Sports Daily out here. Plus, there'll be an occasional leadoff show out here with Tommy Wirtz. There'll be some post-game shows out here with Timmy and Tommy as well. They were out here yesterday afternoon, which was very cool. All right, so the question is this. If there's one guy you want in this draft coming up on Tuesday night and one guy that you don't want in this draft, who would they be? Nikolai Law, target text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. You know, the one guy's name that keeps coming up is Nate Amon from Tennessee, and he was on ESPN on SportsCenter talking about where he's had visits, and they asked him about the Milwaukee Bucks as well. Charlie, go ahead and let's play that.
Well, I've only done 4 workouts. I've done Chicago, Brooklyn, OKC, and the Clippers. So they've shown a lot of love.
Okay, now ESPN's Jeremy Woo, I don't know how much you pay attention to this stuff, but he has you going at 10 to the Bucks. How would that sit with you?
Honestly, I mean, for me, it's just, the fit, wherever I get drafted. It doesn't really matter, if I get drafted high or low. I just want to be able to come in and impact the game immediately. So that sounds good to me as long as I'm playing.
Sounds really excited about it. I mean, you could really just tell. You couldn't hide his smile. He was so happy and excited about the aspect of being drafted to the Milwaukee Bucks. He about jumped out of his clothes with excitement there, Charlie.
He did not sound that excited, but also the other teams that he named there are all going to be teams that I think have higher picks than the Milwaukee Bucks, if I remember correctly.
Where does OKC pick?
A lot of people are predicting them to trade up back into the top 10, so that's the guess. Yeah, they don't right now, but that's the assumption, and that's why they keep working out a lot of these top 10 guys that are in that range.
If you all, the Bulls, your team, if they take this kid over Caleb Wilson, I'm going to make fun of you for the rest of your life. I'm just telling you, I'm making fun of you for the rest of your life if they take that dude at 4 over everybody else.
I mean, you'd have to be in love with him. That is going to be a
shocker if they pull that off.
So I think in my mind, maybe he's thinking he just isn't going to get down to the Milwaukee Bucks. So to be asked about them right now, maybe just isn't a part of his plan at the moment. So he just isn't really sure how to respond to that. If there's 3-4 other teams potentially that could be above the Bucks that are willing to take him at this point. Now, I don't think a lot of those other teams, I think that's kind of worst case scenario. If the 2-3 guys before them that they really want for some reason are getting taken, that's the type of guy that they'd go and get. And that's why I think they're going and working him out. If he goes to the Bucks at 10, so far throughout this draft process, it's gone from me not wanting him at all to I'll be kind of indifferent if the Bucks go and draft him. A lot of the word around is that the Bucks really are in love with this guy, that it seems like he's their floor right now. Or they're his floor, in the draft process. And if that's the case, then they're going to get a steal at the 10 because a lot of other teams apparently are interested in him. Like, there's a lot of positives that are starting to come out about him that I like a lot more than, like, when we were talking about Darius Aikoff yesterday, the negatives that are coming out about him.
It's hilarious. I was watching a video yesterday. I forgot which NBA insider it was, talking to different executives and stuff of what they thought about Aikoff. The comps that he heard was Iverson and Brunson. Those were the 2 comparisons that he heard for Aikoff. They both agreed the kid's going to score out of his mind at the next level and be special. So we'll see, defensively how bad he is, because obviously there's some talk there. It doesn't sound like he's very intent on wanting to play defense either. But
neither one of those 2 guys that you just compared him to were defenders, and they ended up being fine. So
yes. Hall of Famers. I mean, Brunson's going to be a Hall of Famer now.
With that championship, for sure.
Yes, yeah. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. Iverson is a Hall of Famer. So, yeah, again, a Hall of Fame guard is sitting there at, say, 4 or 5, and you take Ament from Tennessee? Like, I'm telling you, I will make fun of everybody that does it, if anybody does it, before he gets to 10. And maybe the kid will be good. Maybe the kid will be great. I don't know. I can't get down with it. I don't see it. Like, how does he How does he drive by guys? How does he get his own shot? Like all of that type of stuff. He just doesn't have the explosion, maybe would be the best word to use for it.
I think what they hope is that because he's 6'10 already as the super young player, freshman out of Tennessee right now, that he's going to grow into that and he's going to get more explosive as he trains right that. Like he's going to keep growing at this point. All these guys keep growing. So you are assuming he's going to be a 7-foot forward at some time in his career and that you can make that work. And I think that's what a lot of teams are probably planning on, especially teams that I think like the Chicago Bulls right now, who have a lot of pieces kind of in place in guard positions and other forward positions. This gives you that piece in the front court that you didn't have previously.
You're not taking him over Caleb Wilson, Charlie.
No, if Caleb Wilson is there, you take Caleb Wilson. I think that's kind of what I'm saying before is that if another team really likes Caleb Wilson, which reports are coming out more and more that a lot of teams are getting interested in him, that they take a jump on Caleb Wilson, and maybe the Bulls don't like a Boozer if he ends up being that guy at 4, that they would go maybe with another reach at a position they like better.
Again, both those guys aren't finished products. But if we're talking about higher upsides of like who these guys can be, like Wilson has got a much bigger upside in my mind. Explosive, jump out of a gym, working on his shooting and doing that type of stuff. But that dude is kind of like a freak athlete, what we're talking about here. You don't really get that, at least I don't, maybe others do, watching Amen play. So for me, I'm just going to be straight with you. Unless somebody falls unexpectedly, I'm probably not going to like the pick at 10 regardless, because if Giannis is moving, this has to be a star to superstar type player. And I don't think you're doing that at 10. Now, if it's we're keeping Giannis, he's signing an extension in October, okay, then I'm probably more willing to be okay with whoever they pick at 10, because then there's not going to be as much dependence on that guy to carry a roster. But if he's gone before draft night or on draft night, that pick more than likely has to carry the roster unless in some 3-4-way deal they end up with 4 or they end up with 2 or something. Okay, well, then that player doesn't matter as much anymore, and I probably won't be as mad. Pro Hoops Draft Show coming up Tuesday night, 6 to 9 p.m. Brandon Snide, former NBA and Badger center Brian Butch, again, 6 to 9 here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Pick-by-pick coverage all the way through the first round. Then that'll transition into the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show with Tim and Tommy. So there may be a situation where those 4 commingle together if the Bucks pick isn't made by that point and the Brewers game is over, and they may all react together. Plus Charlie, so you got 5 voices all going on.
It's going to be interesting
during that. Yeah, could be a lot of fun. No question.
If we head on over to
Butch with the baseball guys.
We head on over to the Nicolay Law Talking text line 44677-1250. Patrick Antosa says, want Lendenberg. I think he is the closest to a sure thing and can have a long NBA career rather than always swinging from the rafters. Yep. Don't want Kareem Lopez for the same reasons above.
Yes, listen. He is the safe pick at 10. I don't argue. As I've said before, he does a lot of things good. He's a solid basketball player. You're not going to take him and be like, wow, what a dud. Wow, what a bust. You're not going to say that about this kid. You're just not. He does too many things good. The problem is he doesn't do anything special, right? So when we're talking about wanting that superstar, no. And like Brian Butch was on earlier this week on this show, and he said the same thing. Look, if you're keeping Giannis, that dude is the pick at 10. Like, they're easy. Make no mistake. He walks on the floor, gives you 20 minutes a night, and you're excited about the 20 minutes that he gives you because he's not going to make mistakes. Like, that's a big thing is part of all this. But if Giannis is gone, then that guy doesn't make sense. It doesn't make as much sense at the end of the day. Coming up in the 3 o'clock hour, Charlie's Sounds of the Day still to come. Plus, we'll talk about how you keep Giannis. We're going to put you in the position of, say, John Horst or Jimmy Haslam. And we're going to ask you at 3:20, what would be your pitch to Giannis to convince him to stay, trust you, and sign an extension? What would you say to Giannis to convince him to stay? But first, we'll talk about the Crew and about the Milwaukee Brewers coming up next here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, out here at Summerfest. Kitty corner from the Hole-in-One Challenge, brought to you by X Golf. $10 get you 3 golf balls. First hole-in-one at Summerfest gets $5,000.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Welcome in. It is 3 o'clock hour here on Friday at Summerfest. I'm guessing a lot of people probably took off work early today, Charlie, to head on down to Summerfest, hang out here. It is absolutely beautiful. In the shade, however, might need a jacket. Might get a little cool out.
You're just
here.
always cold. There's sometimes where it's like 80 degrees out and Sparky just comes in here and that Brewers puffer jacket that he has. I don't understand it.
It needs to be sewn, but
it's still there. You still have it.
Yeah. But seriously, I had my jacket in my car and I was like, I think I might bring it in. It's a little windy. And I was like, no, I'm not going to. I don't see anybody else wearing jackets. So I didn't come in here with a jacket on. And now we're like, I could have used a jacket a little bit here under the tent, under the trees. Okay, so it is 3 o'clock, which means coming up at 3:40, Charlie's Sounds of the Day. We're going to ask you what your pitch to Giannis would be to convince him to stay, to convince him to be a Buck. I saw one of our listeners that follow me on X kind of pitched what his plea to Giannis would be. And I want to know what your plea to Giannis would be. How would you convince him to trust you going into this draft, trust you in free agency, that you can put a team around him that can compete in the East? What is your pitch? What would you say to Giannis to convince him to have some patience here with you and then potentially sign an extension in October? But first, we got to talk about the crew.
It's time to talk about the crew. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Don't forget, we're out here at Summerfest by the Hole-in-One Challenge, brought to you by X Golf. $10 get you 3 golf balls. Of those 3 golf balls, you need to put one of those golf balls into the hole on the island hole out there on a barge in Lake Michigan. And if you do that, the first one to do it here at Summerfest wins $5,000. And to the best of my knowledge, nobody has done it as of yet. If that happens, I will let you know. So I still believe that you have plenty of time to come out here and give that a shot if you'd like, right along the water. And as you're walking along the water, you'll see us set up here as well with the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Okay, so as we talked about earlier, Brewers and the Braves coming up tonight. I don't know if you had an opportunity to see the article in The Athletic earlier today. I was reading it this morning, and it was a great piece because they were having a conversation with Nolan Ryan and kind of going back and forth about Jacob Misiorowski being compared to Nolan Ryan. Now, Nolan Ryan is in his late 70s, started pitching in the 70s, obviously, and into the 80s and so forth. And I learned a couple of things in this deal here, Charlie. Number one, I learned that they went back, and I think the documentary is called Fastball or something like that. And they went back and they used some type of science or whatever to judge what they believed at that point was like the fastest pitch that Nolan Ryan had thrown.
Yes, fastball. Narrated by Kevin Costner, the sports guy.
Yeah. Did you see how fast they thought he had thrown?
I did not, no.
108 miles an hour, they believed. That is what Nolan Ryan threw. 108 miles an hour. Now, Nolan Ryan was like, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know how accurate it was. He goes, I knew I threw it really hard, but I don't know if that was accurate. He goes, and to be honest with you, we don't know how hard any of us threw back in the day because we didn't have the technology to really tell us how hard we were throwing. And furthermore, we don't know how accurate the technology is really today to tell us whether or not this is how hard everybody is throwing. But as Ryan pointed out, he goes, I'll say this much. This Misiorowski kid is definitely throwing harder than everybody else in baseball right now. Like, you can clearly tell that. Now, as far as how hard he threw or whatever, that's different. The other thing I did not know, we talked about the other day, was it DeGrom who came out and said, I want every pitcher to throw 100 pitches. Oh, Scherzer.
Yep.
Scherzer. I want every pitcher to throw 100 pitches before he's allowed to be taken out as a starting pitcher. And we laughed and we said, that's just not going to happen. So Nolan Ryan, he claims in one game that he threw 230 pitches in one baseball game in the pros, at the major league level. He threw 230 pitches in a game. That is, or somewhere in that.
What do you
that
mean he claims they don't have that like as a record? Because they were counting pitches, weren't they, during this time? Not like
I don't know.
I feel like that's like easy to do.
I
count
feel
pitches
like
at least.
I don't know if that was documented the way it is now necessarily. But yeah, in this piece, he said, over 200 pitches in a single game. Could you imagine a pitcher today? There's no chance that's happening.
They didn't start tracking pitch counts until 1988.
See, there you go. So
That's
there's
crazy.
no documentation. But he was pretty convinced. He threw like 230 pitches in a game or somewhere in that area in a single baseball game. You got guys tapping out after 6 innings. I got no more, Skip. I got no more. I throw 95, dude. I'm zonked. I can't go anymore. This guy's throwing more than double that in baseball games back in the day. And let's also talk about this. Not going through Tommy John surgeries, not blowing out elbows, not doing any of that stuff. He was like, what was that? The Duracell bunny. He just keeps going and going and going and going. And he was a big dude too, right? He's a big hoss. He went. Mizorowski is more like bones, right? And they added some muscle to his legs in the offseason, whatever. But he is kind of thin. Nolan Ryan was thick. Like he was
still only 170. He was like, that's thick for like his time. But like 170 nowadays is not. That's a skinny guy nowadays.
Sure. Yeah. But back then,
6'2", 170 is a big guy. Then.
Yes, no doubt. So I don't know. And Nolan Ryan said, it's never going to be fair to say that anybody is him at the end of the day, right? To say, oh, Jacob Mizorowski is the next me. He's got a long way to go and a lot of numbers to put up before you ever get into that category of saying that anybody ever is the next Nolan Ryan. However, as Nolan Ryan said, Zach Wheeler is in that article as well talking about Mizorowski. Wheeler is like, I wish I had his mechanics at his age when I was pitching. Wheeler then said, now again, Wheeler is a all-star pitcher. He's going to be a Hall of Fame pitcher probably at the end of the day. Wheeler said he turns on Mizorowski film now to watch his mechanics to try and remind himself of what he's not doing mechanically and trying to get to where Mizorowski is doing mechanically at this point as far as his legs, where his arm is, all this stuff. He's using Miz. Nolan Ryan, same thing. Like, man, if I was 6'7", and had that type of reach to let the ball go and everything that he has, he pretty much said, hey, man, this kid is special. He's got a special gift right now, what you're watching, and there is no question whatsoever. If he stays healthy, you are probably going to be watching one of the greatest pitchers you're ever going to see pitch at this point.
Probably. I saw a side-by-side earlier today of Jacob Mizorowski and his wind-up and release compared to Andrew Painter, the young pitcher for the Phillies who just got sent down.
Yep.
But he's also a 6'7", really tall, really lanky guy that throws or is supposed to throw for a higher kind of velocity. And Jacob Mizorowski, his fastball is at 103.5 is the video they're showing of that one. And then they're showing a Painter fastball at 96 miles per hour. And you can just see when Jacob Mizorowski pitches, he does every single movement with intent. Not a bit of it is out of control. Every single bit of it is together. It's tight. And it's within this short kind of pushing motion instead of a catapult motion that I think a lot of these other young pitchers get into, especially when you're a bigger guy like that. Versus like Andrew Painter, who is getting in that catapult motion. He's lifting his front shoulder up and then throwing downwards, and that's how you get those injuries in that shoulder. And then his leg is so much more out of control. There's just so much more that Jacob Mizorowski has down pat at 23 years old than other guys his age. And then like Zach Wheeler was saying, even guys that are older than him and more experienced than him that are Cy Young caliber pitchers still need to focus on. Jacob Mizorowski is now doing those things just unconsciously, and it all looks so perfect, so robotic. And I think that's part of the reason that Nolan Ryan lasted as long as he did and never really got hurt, is because he just had a mechanic to him that always kept him in shape and always kept him in check and was always just the right way of pitching. He's never changing that. And that's what kept him there. I think that's also what's going to keep Jacob Mizorowski healthy moving forward here too, and why the Brewers trust him so much to go these 9-inning games, and why after just one season of having him on those restrictions, they're willing to get him off of that because they trust him and they trust in those mechanics that they see every time he throws a ball.
The other thing about it too is Mizorowski versus Nolan Ryan as far as strikeouts per 9. Nolan Ryan averaged 9.5 strikeouts per 9. Mizorowski right now is averaging 13.6 strikeouts per 9 inning. That's 4 more strikeouts per 9 than what Nolan Ryan did back in the day. How about this? When Nolan Ryan was like 23 years old or whatever, you know what he was averaging walk-wise per 9 innings?
How much?
7.
Yeah, that's
7.
I just pulled up Nolan Ryan. So his best season, he had 383 strikeouts compared to 162 walks that year. Both of those led the league. Jacob Mizorowski right now through this season has, if we look at 131 strikeouts to 22 walks. So he's on pace to get close to the strikeout number, probably not get there entirely, but to completely demolish the walk number that Nolan Ryan had there. That's insane. If he can keep that going and stay healthy, yeah, I can guarantee you he's going to be one of the greatest pitchers you've ever seen with your own eyes.
Right now, you're what, 2.5 months into the season. You have 2.5 months left. So he's on pace for 70 or less walks at the end of the season, and he's on pace for what, 260 strikeouts?
So yeah, about 270 strikeouts and roughly 52 walks.
How many, here, Google this quick. How many times has a pitcher had 200 more strikeouts than he did walks in the course of a season? Like, that seems pretty wild to me, that you would have 200 more strikeouts than walks. Maybe it's more common than I realize. Maybe very well could be. But that seems like a pretty small group of people that would have that.
So Aaron Nola is only one of 5 pitchers since 1920 to record 200 plus strikeouts and 30 or less walks in a single season. So I would assume the number that we're talking about probably has never happened.
Really?
Yeah. So that's what I'm seeing. So here, what pitcher has had 200 strikeouts and less than 35?
No. What pitcher has had 200 more strikeouts in a season than he had walks?
You can't find that. That's why I'm looking at the 200 strikeouts. And,
that's not coming up.
Lower than 35.
I thought AI was supposed to be smart.
It's not
overrated.
It's not
overrated.
You still have to do your work. So Bobby Matthews, James Burke, Jim Whitey, Cy Young, Pedro Martinez, Kurt Schilling, Clayton Kershaw, and Aaron Nola are the pitchers that have had those 200 strikeouts and less than 35 walks in the season.
That's crazy. Nolan Ryan also talks about hitters today. He said the hitters today have no discipline. The hitters today, they'll strike out 3 times, and the 4th time up, they'll hit a home run, and they act like they did something special. It was vintage Ryan. Rosenthal said he laughed out loud. Then he comes back later on. And again, Nolan Ryan in this piece is really good. Don Mattingly is being interviewed in this piece as well. It's just a really good piece. I think I talked about with The Athletic before. If you don't have a subscription, you're really, really missing out at this point. Right now, Mizorowski has thrown nearly 500 pitches this year at nearly 100 miles per hour. Has an ERA of .17 over his last 8 starts, in which he has faced 192 hitters. 2 of them scored. Out of 192 hitters, 2 have scored. Only 1 of them scored an earned run of the 2 that scored. And precisely 2 of them hit any kind of extra base hit, both doubles. 80 of them struck out, which computes to nearly 3 times as many as the 28 who have reached base on either a hit or a walk. Even Ryan never had an 8-start stretch with an ERA, whip, or strikeout rate that good.
That's just absurd. And you were talking about him as the second-place Cy Young guy for a part of this season, too.
So
and
check
he's doing
this out.
that.
On the other hand, Ryan quickly points out that he's pretty sure he averaged 150 pitches a start, and knows for a fact he once threw more than 230 pitches one day in Boston. 150 a start.
That's just crazy. And that's like when you hear that his highest or their predicted highest velocity for him was at 108. I find that hard to believe when you're throwing that much. Even if you have all the right mechanics, even if you are doing all the right things, I still can't look at that and say, oh, yeah, he's doing that for a majority of his career as his peak. That first 3 fastballs, or one of them's coming out at 108. I can't believe that when he's pitching that much.
Now, I am doing all of this to get to a question, okay? Do you know the name of Nolan Ryan's fastball?
No, not off the top of my head.
They had a name for his fastball. It was called the Express. The question is, what should be the fastball name for Mizorowski's fastball?
Ooh.
If it's the Express for Nolan Ryan, and this dude's throwing 104.5 documented from what we have, what should the name of the fastball that Mizorowski throws be called? That's what I'd like to know. Nicolay Law Talk and Text Line, 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. You can also use the Dugout YouTube chat. I believe I can see it now. I just figured out how to see it on my side of the world. Yep, I never knew I could do that till literally like 5 minutes ago. So make sure to do that as well. If we are streaming live on Instagram Live, on X, on YouTube, make sure to smash the like button, as Charlie likes to say, and make sure you subscribe. We're trying to get to this certain number of subscribers before we get to I think it's the middle or end of next week, Tommy said. I don't know, something like that. So make sure to like and subscribe at WI Sports Radio on YouTube. Of course, you can also watch us live streaming on Facebook at The Fan Milwaukee. You can watch us there too. What should the name of the Mizorowski fastball be, knowing that Nolan Ryan's fastball had its own name, the Express? I don't believe anybody in the last, 20, 30 years has had a nickname for their fastball. I mean, Aroldis Chapman throws the hell out of the ball. I don't believe Aroldis Chapman ever had a nickname for his fastball at any point when he was pitching. Jacob deGrom's a bad man. I don't believe they had a nickname for his either. I mean, if you're ever going to have a nickname for somebody's fastball, it's now. Mizorowski should have a nickname for his fastball. If Nolan Ryan's fastball was nicknamed the Express back in the day, what would it be for Jacob Mizorowski? Now, the nickname already is in place, right? We already call him the Miz. That's the nickname. Not probably very creative necessarily, but the Miz is the nickname. Now, does the name have to be Wisconsin related, right? Does it have to involve beer? Does it have to involve some type of cheese reference? Does it have to involve something like that? Does the nickname have to involve something along the lines of the youth and kind of how young he is? Is there something related to Pokemon? The guy is a huge nerdy Pokemon card collector. I'm sure you saw earlier somebody made him like a huge life-size Pokemon card with him on it. And gave it to him because he's such a big Pokemon guy. So what would the nickname be for our guy, Jacob Mizorowski's fastball? 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. Charlie, what say you?
First, let's head on over to the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line, 414-677-1250, like Sparky just said. Paul in Menominee Falls. Paul, what would you name Mrs. Fastball?
I would go with the Polish Pounder.
Being a Polish person myself, I can get down with that. That's pretty funny. You could call it the Polish. Yeah, that's not bad. Or you could give some respect to Nolan Ryan and call it the Polish Express.
There you go.
Right?
There you go.
You could put them together.
Think about the marketing. The Polish Pounder, he could sell, pound burgers at wherever, Burger King, or
Yeah, no, I get down with it. Thanks for the call. And you've got the sausage race, right? You got the Polish sausage. Maybe they should put the Polish sausage into like a Jacob Mizorowski jersey when he's out there running, something along those lines. Again, Nolan Ryan's fastball was named the Express. Asking you what should be the nickname of the Jacob Mizorowski fastball, considering what the highest fastball right now is 104.5. The Polish Pounder is the first suggestion. I don't mind the Polish Express.
I don't mind it either.
That doesn't bother me. That's kind of a hat tip to Nolan Ryan, Charlie.
I like the idea of adding the Polish shoe. I know a lot of people have been trying to make like the Polish Vortex a thing for a nickname in general for Miz. I was thinking the first thing that came to my mind, because I was thinking about the Polish Vortex name that I made, is like the Polish Pistol. Just do that. It's coming in like a bullet, man. So you got to watch out. Something like that, a little alliteration to it. Yeah.
Kenny Mack on the Dugout YouTube chat said it should be called the Brew Cruiser.
All right. I like that.
Now, the only thing about that is it's very specific, right? So if he leaves later in his year, that's probably going to change. But with Nolan Ryan, with the Express, he carries that no matter what team he's on. That nickname just rolls with him with his fastball wherever he goes. Imagine, again, think about all the different T-shirts and hats and everything that goes along with it, Charlie, and the amount of money that could be made by the Brewers. And I'm sure Mizorowski would get screwed and not make any money off of it. But there would be a lot of money to be made there from a marketing perspective.
Oh, 100%. Like KJ called in before. He didn't have time to stay on, but he brought up calling it the Miz Cheese Whiz. That's the name he would give it. So like you mentioned, having cheese in the name. It rhymes. It works. You don't like it?
A Cheese Whiz? Cheese Whiz, does Cheese Whiz say fast? I don't know if Cheese Whiz says fast. It's got to be something. like, I don't know what it is. Like the bullet idea that you had, I think that's good, right? Like a speeding bullet. But how do you turn that into like some type of reference for Mizorowski and what he can do on the baseball field with them? All right, 414-677-1250. C. Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, out here at Summerfest, right over there by the Hole-in-One Challenge, brought to you by X Golf. $10 will get you 3 golf balls, and all you have to do is hit it into the hole. Hit it into the hole. First one to do it here at Summerfest wins $5,000. Why wouldn't you want to try the Hole-in-One Challenge at this point? You also should head on over to Wendy's and show your love for the new Banana Frosty Swirl. The Banana Frosty Swirl is the perfect treat from Wendy's Minion Friends. They created the banana cream sauce with real banana. The flavor is like a classic banana cream pie or pudding and pairs perfectly with Wendy's Vanilla Frosty. That's the new Banana Frosty Swirl. And I was surprised at work today and had some Wendy's dropped off for me. Couple double stacks, spicy chicken nuggets, and a Banana Frosty with chocolate Frosty ice cream.
Interesting.
It's like a chocolate-covered banana.
Yeah, you ever seen Arrested Development, Sparky? Probably not. But
no.
Great show.
I've heard of it at least.
Great show, hilarious. They got blue chocolate-covered bananas in that. I've always wanted one of those, so that frosting makes me think of that, and now I want one.
Yeah. Bruce City Chaser in the Dugout YouTube chat says, how about Midwest Express? Again, named after the old airline that everybody used to love to fly back in the day with the great chocolate chip cookies. Back in the day, Charlie, you're too young. I'm guessing you've never flew Midwest Express.
No idea. Like United has cookies, don't they?
Midwest Express, yeah, that's not the same thing. Midwest Express, if memory serves correct, the entire plane was leather seats. Like every
fancy.
Seat. Shoot. Oh, yeah. Chocolate chip cookies that were warm, like with the melted chocolate and stuff. Midwest, man, that was the airline that everybody loved to fly back in the day, for sure. All right, where are we going to next, Charlie? We need a break here?
Yeah, we can take a break, and then we're going to have some calls when we come back.
Oh, we got more calls. All right, sounds good. Get some more of your calls coming up next. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Summerfest. Welcome in. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Live from Summerfest, right there by the Hole-in-One Challenge, brought to you by X Golf. 3 golf balls for $10. First one to hit a hole-in-one at the golf challenge gets $5,000. First one to do it here at Summerfest, $5,000. Go give it a shot. $10, 3 golf balls. As I've stated before last year when we were out here, and I'll state again, it's a perfect thing to have, man. You got a little kid, 6, 7 years old, 8 years old, whatever. Spend the $10, let them take their 3 shots, video them. And then next year, come back and do it again. Next year, come back and do it again. And once they finally get it on to that green, it's going to be like the greatest day of their life. And you're going to have the videos to show at their wedding later on about, hey, here's little Johnny at age 6, and here's little Johnny finally getting it onto the green at like age 15 or 14 or however old he would be. Or here's little Sparky at age 50, still doesn't have enough power to get it onto the green, at age 50. I mean, that's the thing, Charlie.
I think you could do it.
I was listening to Mason Crosby today. I don't even know how far they said the hole was, 170 maybe or something like that, right?
Yeah. Easy. You got that.
Yeah, I hear Mason Crosby. Yeah, probably like an 8-iron. 8-iron, man.
Okay, nerd.
8-iron. I'll tell you right now, it would be a 3-wood at least for me. I may need a full driver to even have a shot at it.
I go driver.
We're being honest about it.
The only 2 clubs I know in my golf game are a driver and a putter, baby. And I'm ripping the driver, and I probably am ripping the putter too half the time when I'm doing that.
Oh my God. You're reckless. I wouldn't let you near anything having to do with a golf course. Like,
Don't blame me.
we're having a charity golf outing. Charlie is not allowed.
I'm a driving range mini golf type of guy. The in between is for the pros to take.
All right. So earlier in the last segment, we were talking about this great piece in The Athletic about Nolan Ryan talking about Jacob Mizorowski, and they were comparing him and Mizorowski. Nolan Ryan, very, very good. Again, if you have The Athletic, go read it. But in that piece, they said Nolan Ryan's fastball was nicknamed the Express. And as far as I know, I don't know of any other player that had their fastball with a nickname outside of Nolan Ryan. So I ask you, what should be the nickname for the Jacob Mizorowski fastball? Because I think at this point, he's earned the right to have a nickname for his fastball. Nikolai Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Charlie, to the phones we go. What you got?
All right. So first up, Joe in West Allis. You're on Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. What would you name Jacob Mizorowski's fastball, Joe?
Hey, great show, guys. I think we could take a little takeoff on the word missile and call it a mizzle.
A mizzle? What exactly does that mean? What is a mizzle?
What do you mean?
It's a missile.
Oh, I see. See, you got to help me. I'm slow to go trying to figure out jokes.
Mizzle.
Yeah, okay. The mizzle, like a missile. All right, thanks for the call.
That's a very popular one on the text line, too. We got a bunch of people texting the mizzle or the missile.
The mizzle?
414 says the missile or the missile.
What was that Italian restaurant that Dillard went to when he was in San Francisco?
Domino's?
Domino's, yeah. Found out later he meant Domino's for pizza, not Domino's.
Oh, it was so good. I think about that at least once a month. Sparky, I go back, think about how disappointed Tim looked when you didn't get it right away and then I had to break it to you.
And when you did, then Tim Dillard lost his mind. The fact that I
hilarious.
didn't understand. Yeah, that he really thought it was funny. That at least somebody else got it besides Sparky. All right, moving on. So the mizzle is one. I don't know.
If we stick on the text line, 414-677-1250, you can text that, get on the show that way. 262 says Jacob Mizorowski's fastball should be the swing and Miz. You like that?
Swing and Miz? Maybe. All right, go on.
From the 920, the miserable fastball.
People playing off that Miz thing.
They like working with it. They like working with that. 262 says the best care in the air. I don't know.
Ooh. Okay. All right.
Is that like the Midwest Express slogan? Okay,
yes,
I get it.
Yes. Okay. The best care in the air. All right. So this is what you got to think of, right? So like Nolan Ryan throws that pitch. The Express coming in at 102 miles an hour, right? So that's it. So if it's the Mizzle, that's just the Mizzle at 103. Like, no, man.
The Piz Mizzle? I like that.
The Piz Mizzle? What are we talking about?
Let's head over to the
I may regret this topic. This is not going the way I expected.
Let's head over to the phone lines again. RJ in West Bend, you are on Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. What'd you call Jacob Mizorowski's fastball?
I'd go with Polish smoke. Can't see it coming. When you do, you can only wave at it.
The Polish smoke. I'm all right with that. I don't mind the Polish smoke. That's not too bad. The Polish Express I still think is my favorite. of what we've got right now, not just because I came up with it, but playing off of his nickname of his. Plus, we have the Midwest Express airline reference as well. He's obviously Polish. So, yeah, I don't mind that. I want somebody to ask him. Somebody needs to ask this dude, maybe not in postgame today after he pitches against the Braves, but somebody at some point needs to ask him, like, you know what? Maybe I'll reach out to our guys over there at Foul Territory and have Przinsky or Kratz ask him when he's on. I think that has to be a thing. Or maybe we'll just get him on our show. Maybe
I should look around like the Pokemon world and see if we can get a Pokemon nickname for his fastball for him.
That's
then
what
he'd be
he would
happy.
want.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he'd like that. So I think we could maybe find something like that. All right.
So maybe somebody's listening that knows Pokemon and can think of a reference point with Pokemon for his fastball. Maybe that's it.
I feel like there's got to be like some kind of move in the game or something that like would equate to a fastball to some degree, or some like baseball themed character or something, you know, like they got lots of Pokemon out there. I don't know much about Pokemon. I feel like I'm an old man right now talking, but
good for you. Welcome to my world.
Exactly. You barely know the word Pokemon. If it weren't for your 10-year-old, I'm sure. But
well, no, I mean, that's old enough. My older kids.
Oh, that's fair.
My 19-year-old collected Pokemon cards, had binders of them, the whole deal.
That's fair. If
let's see here. I put it up into Google. The Pokemon quote fast reference typically relates to either Pokemon base speed stat, dictating turn order, or its fast attacks. The quick tap-based moves used in Pokemon Go battles, or Go battles, I guess it's called.
Fastest Pokemon, Garchomp, Arcanine.
Speed is the most important stat in Pokemon.
Yeah, I don't know how.
So let's see here. Deoxys, is that how you say it?
Maybe.
Speed form clocks in at a blazing 180 base speed.
Who had Sparky looking at Pokemon stats on their bingo card?
I'm just trying to the fastball item. Like, there's a lot of stuff in here. I have no idea what's going on. Would you like to know the fastest Pokemon of a specific type, like Dragon, Ghost, or Psychic?
Sure.
So that could be maybe one of them. Ghost.
All right.
What if it was Ghost?
Isn't there like a Ghost Ball already, or it's the Ghost Fork? That's what the one guy in the Mets throws.
Oh, right. Yep. So that can't be it then. All right, go on.
Okay, this was the Misery Maker from the 4-and-4 on the Nickelodeon.
I like that one. Okay, that's good.
I like that. That's good.
I like that one. Yeah, that's good.
B. Hintage in West Allis says, "Whizzer, I choose you." So that's kind of like a Pokemon reference a little bit. I don't know if I like Whizzer.
Now, I'll be honest. When I hear Whizzer, I think of the roller coaster at Six Flags down in Gurnee. That's like the beginning roller coaster. That's the one that there's no loops, there's no nothing. You just kind of like go around kind of fast. Not even really that fast. So like if you have a small child or an adult scared to death of roller coasters, that's the first roller coaster you put them on, is the Whizzer at Six Flags.
All right, it's just a fastball. That's all it is, but it's going fast. It's pretty simple. It's just gonna come right by you like the Whizzer, you know? Okay, I like that. If you can match it to that. 262 says it needs to be the British pronunciation Missile, not the American Mizzle.
Missile. Okay. Now that's a little bit more sexy. Now it's got a little bit more something to it.
I like the Mizzle better.
The Missile?
Missile.
I like the Missile much better. That Missile coming in at 103. The Mizzle coming in at 102. Missile or Mizzle? Missile or Mizzle? Missile has got to be the winner.
Missile doesn't sound
over
great.
Mizzle? No.
Oh,
maybe one of the dumbest conversations you've ever had on this show right there. Missile or Mizzle. Only at Summerfest, folks. Only at Summerfest. Unbelievable. All right, we'll take a quick time out. Come back on the other side. We got to get to Charlie's Sounds of the Day straight ahead. And we'll see what he comes up with. Don't forget, Plead the Fifth Friday, still coming up at 4:20, brought to you by Habish, and Rotier. And all you get to do is tell somebody to hush it up, quit your talking. You're embarrassing yourself. Just to hush it up. All you got to do to nominate somebody for that at 420 is use the talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Potawatomi Sportsbook, 2 levels, 2,000 square foot center screen, over 30 sporting events at one time, over 40 beers on tap, over a dozen different specialty cocktails, homemade desserts and pastries made every day at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel. And let me tell you about the Potawatomi Sportsbook Kitchen, a full menu, all-day brunch. They got steak and eggs. They got pancakes. Everything you could possibly want. They've got it all day long. Plus, they've got tenders. They've got wings. They've got build-your-own burgers. Again, everything you could possibly want to get your hands on and eat. So good. And for Brewers home games, they offer their shuttle service to and from the Potawatomi Sportsbook. So you pay for free at the Potawatomi parking garage. go in the 4th level entrance, walk on over on the little skywalker, whatever the case may be. Then to get your bracelet to get onto the shuttle, you have to make a $5 wager in the sportsbook or get something at the Potawatomi Sportsbook kitchen or bar area for $5. You then tell them you want your bracelet, and you're good to go to and from Brewers home games. It is the Potawatomi Sportsbook, your place to be. For more information, go to Potawatomi.com. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook at Summerfest, right here by the Hole-in-One Challenge, brought to you by X Golf. $10 get you 3 golf balls. First person to get a hole-in-one out here at Summerfest wins $5,000 only at the Hole-in-One Challenge here at Summerfest. And this is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you out here at Summerfest, right by the Hole-in-One Challenge, brought to you by X Golf. $10, get you 3 balls. First one to get a hole-in-one at Summerfest gets $5,000. Just talking to Aaron Sims, voice of the Milwaukee Admirals. They're in the break. He's over here. They have their, what would you call that setup that's over here? Activity area or whatever it may be.
The fun zone or whatever.
Yeah,
the
and the Admirals.
Sports fun zone.
Right. The Admirals have their things set up from 4 to 5 each day. So come on out here, check it out. They have the whole schedule set up. I'm sure it's probably maybe more on the weekends. Come meet Aaron Sims, get his autograph. Best play-by-play guy in the NHL. He should be in the NHL if we're being honest about things. So definitely want to take advantage of that while you're out here. One other thing here that we got to get to is Charlie's segment on the show.
1, 2, 3. What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, Charlie, where are we going first?
All right, so first up, we're going to head to the world of college baseball, where Oklahoma head coach Skip Johnson was discussing winning and losing in baseball, and I thought this was just a really cool answer to that question.
Yeah, in 2009, I'll never forget it. I mean, the bus was like a courtroom or whatever you say. I mean, it was like really quiet. And I mean, all of a sudden he let the radio play, and I was like, wow, this is where I came from. The song from Kenny Chesney came on. I'll never forget it. And we get ready for the first game. He didn't talk about winning or losing the game. He talked about executing. He talked about getting bunts down. He talked about first pitch strikes. He talked about playing good catch. And we went on a walk-off walk. I mean, how does that happen, you know? And I thought to myself, I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. But they never talked about winning and losing, because what happens in this game, you talk about winning and losing, kids start fearing that, you know, instead of just playing the game. Because like I said earlier, do you ever really win at baseball? I mean, you don't. I mean, you just got to keep playing the game. And it's an incredible venue. And I think that's what Coach embraced. I thought when you got down to the College World Series, it was totally different for him. And being around him for the 10 years, I was blessed to be around him and Coach Harmon. It was just like that. It was just about executing your game plan. And I've heard Venables talk about that. I heard Lincoln Riley talk about that. I've heard Barry Switzer talk about that. I mean, all the good coaches, Gene Stevenson's here. I've heard those guys talk about all those things, and you learn from all those guys. I mean, that's what you do as a head coach. And I'm really blessed to be under those guys and learn from them.
I understand the philosophy. I understand the mentality of doing that. And I think that's probably the same of most coaches of how they want to talk. Obviously, you have the rah-rah guys. Yeah, we got to win this and all that other stuff. Fine. But really, at the end of the day, it comes down to just executing what you do best and not worrying about necessarily winning the game or losing the game. You just do what you're supposed to do, and everything else will take care of itself at the end. I mean, you came up, Charlie, with the high school and the college ranks. How was it on the football side?
I think on the football side of things, it matters a lot more so the relationships that coach has, and especially a head coach with the players on his team, more so than what he's actually going out there and coaching physically on the football field, because that's for the position coaches to deal with. And I think a lot of people say, oh, you're supposed to have those relationships with your position coaches and the head coach is supposed to be working on the other side of things. I really truly think it's the opposite. I think just by being with those guys every day, the position coaches and your teammates, you grow those relationships. And that's why it's easier for those guys to then get on you about your technique and all these other things, and you can kind of deal with that more. I think what a real good head coach does is look at the culture in your locker room and say, hey, how do I cultivate that? And how do I bring that up so that everybody has the same mindset moving forward here? And then how do I trust my position coaches to then take what I'm doing with the culture, you take the technique along with that and implement both of those while I look at the grand picture and how I see this team moving forward. How can I get the right guys motivated at the right time? How can I get these guys in the right position unconsciously instead of making them have to think about it all the time? How do I get my players to have the right mindset? And I think that's huge for a football coach. I also think that's huge for a lot of these coaches across sports. Just you don't have as many assistant coaches in other sports to be able to do that. So you have to be a little more game plan focused at the same time.
I think that's true in anything, right? If you're thinking you're not playing fast and you're not playing fast, you're not going to be the best that you are. Just like if a baseball player gets into a batter's box and is thinking about 6 different things they have to do correctly versus just getting up there and swinging. I mean, that's the one thing Jake Bauers credited Vogelbach with. He's like, dude, quit thinking about all this crap. Just get up there, see the ball, hit the ball, let's go. Like, memory, your muscle memory will take care of it. If you work all off season on fixing your swing plane and doing everything you're supposed to do and getting your weight shift correctly and all that, if you work on all of that, it should be muscle memory. Then at that point, see ball, hit ball, let's go. And apparently that's what's happened for Jake Bauers. I'm not going to get into Jake Bauers' numbers, but he's only had one good month. He's only hitting like 220 this month.
Tommy shook his head immediately.
He had like 240 in April. He's had 1 month. That's all. Okay, go ahead.
Next up here, Tommy's not very happy with you. He's listening to the show in the other room.
I didn't know he was there. I wasn't going to bring it up, but look at the numbers.
All right, next up here, we're going to hear from Vince Goodwill. He was on Get Up earlier this morning, and he was discussing the Bucks not being the only team worried about this Giannis deal if it doesn't happen by the draft.
This thing is dragged on for so long. Will he, won't he? And it doesn't seem like there's a future for Giannis in Milwaukee as far as where he needs to go. Secondarily, if you're one of these other teams, you're Boston, if you're Miami, you can't make contingency plans. Like when you get Giannis, you know what you also have to get? Shooting. You know what you also have to get? Maybe another backup big. You can't go and get those things until you get the big piece and you know that you actually have the big pieces, especially if it's Miami. Let's say it's Miami. They probably have to get a third team involved. Who's that third team going to be? Does that involve Tyler Hero? What does that mean? So a lot of NBA business cannot start until this piece of business is handled.
But what if it's never handled? What if they just simply don't trade him? What if they can make a move and they go get John Morant and they go, good enough. We have enough pieces around him. We're not doing anything. We're closed. We're not moving them. Then what happens? Again, if we think this all the way through, let's say they get Ja, they get somebody, and they're like, Giannis, we're not trading you. We think we can convince you to re-sign during the season. We're going to be so good. You're going to be like, all right, you win. I'll sign. But what if they're not? And now you get to the trade deadline. He hasn't signed jack crap. Doesn't sound like he's signing jack crap. Now you're going to have to trade him, and you're going to get a sliver of the amount that you could have gotten had you trade him this summer. It's a big, big, big gamble if they decide to build around him to try to prove to them again for like the third or fourth time that they're serious about winning. Because if they miss, they're going to have egg all over their face and not get what they should get in return.
Well, but no matter what they do, it's going to be a big gamble for this Milwaukee Bucks team. I think trading Giannis and moving on from him in your future, yes, you might get a ton of picks, but it doesn't guarantee that you're going to be competitive ever again in your future. Again, there's a lot of teams that get stuck in that hole.
No, I totally agree. And then there's rumors out there that Edens may be looking to get out of here. And Jimmy Haslam maybe gets full control here at some point.
That would not be good.
Bye-bye to being good. It's all over if Jimmy Haslam's in control.
You don't trust his work with the Browns? No.
He had 2 winning years, and the guy that had him, he fired.
Bye-bye, yeah.
Holy stupid.
And another team immediately signed him too, which you know that it was a bad idea.
Right. I mean, yeah. But the MLS, he won the championship with the Columbus Crew.
He's a winner. He's a winner.
He's a winner. Yeah. God help us. Charlie uses C. Sparky Fivers, Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook out here at Summerfest. Coming up next, green and gold update time, baby.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
It's time again as we are live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, out here at Summerfest. Right there by the Hole-in-One Golf Challenge, brought to you by X Golf. $10 will get you 3 golf balls. First person to sink a hole-in-one on that island hole sitting out there in Lake Michigan gets $5,000. All you have to do is simply get a hole-in-one and be the first one to do it here at Summerfest. All brought to you by, again, X Golf. I am now starting to see people wearing jackets out here. I saw the first 2 people walking by wearing jackets. More sweatshirts are starting to come out as well. I'm telling y'all, it's chilly down here, man. That wind is not helping things either at this point. So, yeah, just telling you, if you're on your way down here, you might want to bring a light jacket or a sweatshirt with you and do that. And if you're looking for a good place to get any of that stuff, Burghardt Sporting Goods, baby. The Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, proudly outfitted by Burghardt Sporting Goods, our official apparel partner. Outfit your team or company with custom apparel today at BSG1881.com, BSG1881.com. They had a ton of Savannah Banana apparel over there at Burghardt's, Charlie. A lot. I think they did an autograph session with the Party Animals, I want to say, when they were in town playing an American Family Field.
I've seen just throughout the past week or so since they had that game at AmFam Field, just a lot of people wearing the Party Animal shirts, wearing all the Savannah Banana merch. Like, it's pretty popular so far, so I don't blame them for stocking up on that stuff for sure.
Coming up still here in the 4 o'clock hour, Plead the Fifth, brought to you by Havish, and Rotier. National reputation, hometown service. Your chance to nominate someone just to keep their mouth shut. Use the talk and text line 414-677-1250 to do that for the next segment. Also, follow the money with our guy, Austin Herdania, the sportsbook manager from the Potawatomi Sportsbook. He'll tell you the 3 biggest things being bet on going into the weekend. And that way, we do this segment for those of you that aren't big gamblers like myself, and you're like, oh, man, I'm going to Potawatomi this weekend. I'd love to make a bet, but I got no idea what to bet. You listen to this segment every Friday at about 4:40, 4:45, and he'll tell you where all the money's at on 3 different games, matches, whatever it may be. And then you could just go where everybody else goes. It's not always the favorite either, Charlie, right? Sometimes everybody's rolling with a dog, and you can make some good money on it.
Right, and Austin's usually right. He's usually right following all of these people. He knows the trends. He knows what he's doing.
Well, I mean, he was poo-pooing everybody riding the over on the Miz 9 strikeouts.
That's true.
Remember correctly last Friday.
That's true. And
how many strikeouts did Miz ended up with? He ended up with
15, I believe.
15. That's more than 9.
Yeah, a few more than 9. I think Tommy was saying it's at like 12 today. So, or that if you put it at 12 plus a Churio.
The over-under is 12 on strikeouts?
I think that's what he was saying.
Braves?
Let's see. Let me go look it up to double check.
Crazy. Now, 9, I mean, he's averaging 13 a game. So, but that's for 9 innings. So, I mean, unless you're saying he's going 9 against the Braves tonight, which who knows? Again, we talked about it earlier. Mizorowski gets up for these spotlight games, and the Braves is going to be a spotlight game because you're a half game behind the Braves for the 2 seed in the NL. Top 2 teams get playoff buys. So there is something to it. And I know, Sparky, the season goes through September. It's early. I understand. But tiebreakers don't matter what time of year it is, depending on when you win or whether you lose to these teams. This Braves series is a big, big series for the Milwaukee Brewers because it could determine the 1 or 2 seed in the playoffs in the postseason. I was listening to 9 to Noon with John Kuhn earlier today, him and Rami Makloff going back and forth. And Rami, Mr. Cub Bear guy, pretty much said you should just be talking about the Brewers postseason at this point. Like, he doesn't think anybody's catching the Brewers in this division. He's pretty much already conceded the thing in the division. Are you at that same point?
I don't know if I'm at the same point. I really truly feel with this Cubs team, if they can get hot at some point in the next 2 months, they'll be okay, and then they'll be able to get going. Just the problem is all these guys, like I've mentioned before, don't get going at the same exact time. I don't really have any faith in the Cardinals. I don't have any faith in the Reds or Pirates to figure it out again at some point throughout this season. So I think if there's going to be a team that's going to do it, it's going to be the Cubs, and they're pretty close to not doing that. Like, if in the next month they continue to be like this, I lose all of that little bit of faith that I had.
I understand that a lot of people are doubting the Cardinals, but I'm not quite sure how much longer you have to wait before you start believing in the Cardinals. they're hanging around, right? I mean, they're not
I think I
within
just hate
3.
the
They're not within a series. But remember, the Brewers play the Cardinals. The one series later in the summer, they have them for 5 games in one series later this summer. So literally, if they're within 5, they very well could climb themselves right back up into this race later this summer. Now, at the same time, if the Brewers were to take 4 out of 5, it could pretty much finish their dreams of contending to win this division at the same point. But it's all about the Brewers and the Braves coming up tonight with Jacob Mizorowski. All right, with that being said, it's 4 o'clock, so we got to go away from the Brewers to this.
It's time for your green and gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer.
Hey, what's going on over here? What is this? Are they giving away free alcohol over here at this table? Free alcohol? You're kidding.
You don't get that every day.
Well, there's a line of people over here to my right. I'm going, what is going on over here? And normally they're just pouring. It's like some alcohol, like sipper thing. Non-carbonated. Really? Non-carbonated, so it's like juice.
Interesting.
Woo-wee, Charlie.
All right.
Hey, now. Hey. What were we doing? Oh.
Talking about the Packers.
Yeah.
Green and gold.
I got sidetracked. That is crazy. Okay, green and gold update time. Charlie, you were telling me earlier today about there's some talk out there about Jordan Love and a possible MVP.
There are. So if we head on over to Up and Adams with Kay Adams, a show that we love here on Wisconsin Sports Daily and everybody across the football world loves. She's starting to get into the flow of things with the offseason, and she is a big-time Packers fan. She lets everybody knows that. She likes to say she's the GM of the team. Well, she says that Jordan Love is her dark horse MVP candidate.
Jordan Love, okay? I'll say it again. We don't appreciate how good Jordan Love was last year. If you look at the numbers, the analytics, he's added more value to his team last year than any other quarterback in the league. He kept the big plays. He cut his turnover rate in half. And that was without his number one target, Tucker Kraft, who, they held a baby funeral for when he went out because he's so important. He's the number one dude. No Jaden Reed for most of the year. The concussion against Chicago. Micah's injury derailed things. That's insane. And he's going to be banged up to start. So we need more Jordan to show why he is this dude you're seeing on the screen. Lambeau leap of improvement. And I don't think it's not going to continue. And from the narrative perspective, which does matter, we have to remember that with MVP, it matters. The Micah Parsons news is this opportunity to say, okay, I know we made this blockbuster trade. Kay, the GM of the Packers, she went to the strip club Oval Office. She ordered some chicken strips. She dialed into that didn't really happen. But, I was very for the Micah thing. It happened, which was like a miracle. And now he's banged up. And they went 0-5 last year without him. That's not going to get him the MVP. He has to show I'm the head, the shoulders, the neck. I'm moving it all around, and I'm carrying the squad. We need a hot start, and it could happen. You've got crazy division, same kind of vibe as Kyler. Like if you're in charge of that means something narrative-wise. Bears, Vikings, you've got Bucks, Cowboys without Micah that you have to survive. This will make his case. The schedule will make his case.
All right, so that was Kay Adams over there on Up and Adams discussing how Jordan Love so far this season, or last season, was the best among all quarterbacks in the league with EPA estimated points gained per play. He had 0.21 compared to the rest of the league. The next closest was Matthew Stafford with 0.18 last season. A really huge stat for a lot of these quarterbacks, one that a lot of people look forward to when they're talking about their MVPs. She also brings up how tough of a division the Green Bay Packers play there. They have the Chicago Bears, they have the Detroit Lions, the Minnesota Vikings. She talks about Kyler Murray being one of her dark horse candidates as well for MVP earlier on in this clip. You don't like that? You're not a fan of Kyler Murray getting that love?
Stop, Kyler Murray MVP nonsense. Stop. There ain't no Kyler Murray MVP. Come on, Charlie. Let's be real.
I didn't say that. That's what Kay Adams said.
Now this is the thing. There I go again. I said it again. I swear to God, I'm going to get a jar that I have to pay, and you and I are going to go out to a real nice dinner at the end of the year. So for me, we start talking about how does he win MVP? They got to win 12 games or more. That's number one. 12 games or more, you win 12 games or more, you win the division. 12 games or more, you have a chance to be the 1 seed. If they win 12 games or more, win the division, and are the 1 seed, I believe he is the MVP of the league. providing he plays in all the games and doesn't miss 4 games along the way. And Tyrod Taylor has to win 3 games by himself. But if Jordan Love's healthy, they win 12, 13 games, they win the division, they're the 1 seed in the NFC. That's how he wins MVP. If this team wins 10 games, they win the division, and they're the 3 seed or the 4 seed, he's not winning MVP at the end of the day. He can't win MVP if they're a wild card. That's out of the question. They pretty much has to have the best record in football, win the division, and be the 1 seed. Then he gets it, Charlie.
Well, and I think with Jordan Love, the other most important thing, and Kay Adams mentioned this in the clip as well, is those first 5-6 weeks of the season for him. And I think that's something that's going to be a hard ask because you're early on in the year. You have to get going super fast. A lot of guys take a little bit to get warmed up. The offense is going to take a little bit to get warmed up. Why not?
No, it's not a hard ask. The first 4 games are at the Vikings. They're not knowing what they're doing. I mean, they got to figure out the quarterback.
Last year didn't know either, and they were still a 500 football team with one of the best defenses in the league.
I don't care about how they finish. We're talking about, can the Packers win week 1? So the Packers at the Vikings, winnable. The Packers at the Jets, winnable. The Packers home against the Falcons with a quarterback debacle, winnable. Packers at the Buccaneers, winnable. Then their first tough game, in my opinion, is the Bears game on October 11th. Then it's at home against the Cowboys, Micah Parsons' revenge game. Then it's at the Lions. That's your 3-week hard stretch in this schedule where it's really tough. You look at the rest of the schedule, once you get through that stretch, they don't have another 3-week stretch like that where you have 3 tough football games in a row the rest of the way. If they get through those 3 weeks, and now you're talking, that's seven games in. If you're 6-1 at that point, you're money. Like, he will be in the MVP conversation, and maybe the leader in the clubhouse is say they're 6-1 through that stretch, regardless of who the loss is to. The loss could be to Caleb Williams and the Bears. It could be the Lions. Whoever the loss is, I don't even care who the loss is to. 6-1, that's it.
That's why it's important and why he needs to go out there and play well in those first 5 games, though. That because they're
but again,
winnable
their schedule
games.
is easy. The first 4 games, those are all winnable games that they should win. Now, again, if they're playing those 3 games there that we just talked about, 1 through 3 to start the season, then I'd be concerned. Then I'd be like, that's a tough ask to ask him to go out there and be 5-0 or 4-1 or whatever. But I think it's very possible they could be 4-0 going into that Bears game.
I don't know. I think in a league where we talked about it last season all the time, the amount of parity that's across the league, you can lose to anybody at any given time in the NFL at this point. I don't think any 5-game stretch is easy for any NFL team at this point in this state in the NFL. And I think that's unfair to say that, they're just going to go out there and go 5-1. I think there are a lot of things that the Packers have to do really well in those first 5 weeks of the season to go out there and win all those games, even if they are easier matchups.
Let's add to something else, Charlie. They go 4-0 in those first 4. You don't have Micah Parsons in the first 4. So that makes it even more impressive from a Jordan Love MVP candidacy standpoint if they go out there and go 4-0 without their best defensive player on the football field. That to me, that's a huge stretch, like A. Adams was talking about at the end of the day for certain. And no question about that. The question that we have is this. It really is directed to you haters that don't like Jordan Love, that think they should have kept Malik Willis, that think they should have traded Jordan Love, that think that Malik Willis will be the better player down the line than Jordan Love, that those of you that think he can't get them to a Super Bowl, those of you that think he may not win another division for the Green Bay Packers, those of you that are haters, those are the people that I would like to hear from. Now, if you love Jordan Love, you don't get to participate in this conversation. You could just listen. I want the people that don't like Jordan Love. What would help to shut you up about Jordan Love and being more positive? He wins an MVP or this team goes to a Super Bowl. What would make it harder for you to be negative about Jordan Love? He wins an MVP, but they lose in the conference championship. He doesn't win an MVP, but they go to the Super Bowl potentially, but he doesn't have an MVP type season. For you, if you go, Sparky, if he wins MVP, I'm done. I won't say I will not be a naysayer anymore, Jordan Love. I swear to you, Sparky, it's all over. I won't ever do it again. If it's, hey, man, if Jordan Love takes this team to the Super Bowl, Sparky, I will never be negative about Jordan Love ever again. Which one is it for you? And God help me if you say he's got to do more than those two things, because I might just lose my mind on the radio right now. Nicolay Law Talk and text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Stream us live at WI Sports Radio on X, Instagram Live, YouTube as well. While you're there, smash that like button and subscribe. And we're on Facebook at thefanmilwaukee.com. All those options for you to participate. Charlie, what say you?
I think in my mind, it's probably taking this team and winning a Super Bowl. I don't know if it's really about the solo award at this point. Again, I bring up the state of the current NFL, and I think over the past 5 or so seasons, if you've been a quarterback of a Super Bowl contending team at least, I think you've put yourself in the name of the MVP conversation too. And I think you've seen that with guys like Sam Darnold this past season. When he's able to take that squad, he gets a lot more recognition with it. And I think that's something how you can earn respect, is that if you automatically make it to a Super Bowl, if you automatically get to that point of being that Super Bowl contender, you're automatically going to be put into the MVP conversation too. So I don't think just because you're in the MVP conversation, you're automatically a Super Bowl contender, though. And I think that's where it's a little different. So if he can help lead this team all the way there, people are happy with the rest of the team. Yeah, maybe they can still complain about Jordan Love or Matt LaFleur a little bit, but they don't have a lot of basis at the same time if he's leading this offense to a Super Bowl.
Charlie, read the latest comment in the Dugout YouTube chat for me, please, from our guy, Eddie Bates. I'll read it for you. Jordan Love will not win an MVP or a Super Bowl. Sparky, you're dreaming too hard. Eddie, I'll slow down. I'm going to ask you the question again, because I'm going to assume that, like a lot of times, I talk too fast and you can't keep up and others can't keep up, and people tell me to slow down all the time. It's been a problem my whole radio career. What would help to shut you up, Eddie, about being so negative about Jordan Love? He wins an MVP, and then you're no more negative, Eddie, about Jordan Love. Or he goes and wins a Super Bowl and goes to the Super Bowl. Would that then shut you up, Eddie, about being so negative about Jordan Love? The question wasn't if, do you think he'll win an MVP or do you think he'll win a Super Bowl? That was not the question. What would help to shut the negative people up about Jordan Love? The naysayers. That's the question. Now, Eddie, if you say he can win an MVP and I still ain't going to like him, he can win a Super Bowl, still not going to like him, fine. But then tell me why. Explain to me why, no matter what this man does, you still aren't going to support the Packer quarterback. Maybe you're a Bears fan. Maybe you're a Lions fan. Maybe you don't know football. I don't know. It could be any one of those things. Either way, I'm just trying to figure out, for those of you that don't like Jordan Love and can't get behind him, I want to know, how do we get you on our side of the line? To those of us that love Jordan Love, that want Jordan Love to go win a Super Bowl, that want Jordan Love to win MVP, that believe Jordan Love can do both of those things, right? How do we get you to our side of the world at the end of the day? Charlie, what do you got?
Let's head on over to the Nicolay Law Talk and text line. Evan in Schofield, you are on with Sparky and Wisconsin Sports Daily, my man.
What's up, Spark?
What's up, Evan? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, good. I just want to come out and say I'm a Bucks fan, and Green Bay is my number 2 team. I root for where my taxes go, and it's a great fan culture you guys have here. And I would say, brother, that you're not really asking the right question.
Okay.
It almost doesn't pay respect to the heritage here in Wisconsin. I mean, you guys love this team. You had Favre and you had Rodgers, 2 Hall of Famers. And I think that you need to see like a couple of years of solid, consistent play. And that guy's got to be able to touch a Hall of Fame career for people to actually be okay with it.
Evan, how old?
As a
Evan,
Tampa
hold on a
Bay
second.
Bucks fan, I'm not even scared of him. So what does that tell you? And you're going to see us.
Evan, I have a question. So you live here in Wisconsin right now in Schofield. So
yes, sir.
When did you start like following the Packers as far as like kind of watching them?
I was a Favre kid, and then I play fantasy football for the past 10 years. So I'm very familiar with your team, and I go for them.
Okay, so this is the thing. So back in the day, because I'm old, I was doing sports talk radio back in the day when Brett Favre was the starting quarterback. And back in the day, people wanted Brett Favre gone. Want to know why? Because they wanted Mark Brunell to be the quarterback. Do you want to know when it got crazy, when people really wanted Brett Favre gone? When Matt Hasselbeck was really playing well in preseason and people were done with Brett Favre and wanted the Packers to move on. That's a Hall of Fame quarterback, and 2 backup quarterbacks had this fan base asking for him to be gone so they could play the backup quarterback instead going forward. He never plays his entire time in Green Bay if it's for the Packers fan base. Rodgers never had that because they always had crap behind him for the most part, so he never had anybody good behind him playing in preseason to challenge him. Jordan Love had the Favre issue, which is his backup quarterback looked really good when he had his opportunity. The difference is Favre's backups never played in the regular season, really. They only played in preseason. That's all we got to see. With Jordan Love, you saw his backup go out and win football games in the regular season, and that did not help to have those people support the starting quarterback when the backup quarterback looked as good as he did.
Hey, you're not telling lies, but I'm just telling you, this is a heritage place, and if you don't look like you're flirting with a gold jacket, maybe you shouldn't be playing in Green Bay. It's a blue chip program. This ain't Cleveland. So I think that's what you're fighting. You ain't you ain't telling tales out of school, brother. But we ain't afraid of them down in Tampa Bay, and that should concern you because we're not even a great team. So
nobody's scared of Tampa Bay here. Nobody's scared
to have that it factor,
Right. No, I got
Baker.
I got you. I mean, I think Baker Mayfield's one of the most overrated quarterbacks in NFL history. So I'm definitely not a Baker Mayfield fan. Never have been. But that's besides the point. I'm not trying to take shots at the Buccaneers. I'm just saying.
That's just
I have fought with coworkers about Baker Mayfield for probably a decade about if he's good or not. Fought the same fight about Matthew Stafford. I was never a big Stafford guy either. Evan, thanks for the call, man. Keep listening. I appreciate it. Be a participant in our show anytime that you would like. All right, where are we going to next? Brian? We're going to Brian, right?
Yep, Brian and Valders. You are on with Wisconsin Sports Daily and Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. Which would help shut up the Jordan Love naysayers, an MVP or a Super Bowl, Brian?
Well, I'll tell you guys, I'm a Packer fan through and through, but I do think there's a lot of Packer fans that are kind of over the top, if you want to call it.
Sure.
And I will just say this. I mean, I want to see Jordan Love win a division first before you talk about before you win a conference title or go to the Super Bowl or be a Hall of Famer. Because quite honestly, guys, he hasn't won nothing yet. And I think people are putting him on this pedestal. He's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And he hasn't even won a division yet. So to compare him to other Hall of Fame quarterbacks, meaning Rodgers, Favre, all those, Jordan Love just has to prove it that he could stay healthy and he could win a division first. And until he does that, quite honestly, he's on the hot seat in my mind.
Okay, very good. Thanks for the call. So for him, it's just go win the division, and I'll be quiet. Please just win the division. He's not even asking for him to win the MVP. He ain't asking for him to go to Super Bowl. Just start winning the division again, like Rodgers did, like Brett Favre did, and that's enough for Brian to be like, that's good enough. Like, let's start there, and then we'll work towards trying to get to Super Bowl, but at least win the division. That's fair. And what Evan said earlier, he's right, too, from the aspect of he's battling the ghosts of 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks that were before him back to back. So the expectation level for people that have only watched Rodgers and Favre their entire life is, all I know are Hall of Fame quarterbacks. You don't look like one, even though statistically he's a top 7 quarterback in the league in 25 and had a really good year. But again, the health aspect of this continuously plays in because he can't stay healthy, Charlie.
Well, and doesn't like a Super Bowl or an MVP automatically put you on that flirting with a Hall of Fame type of trajectory in the first place? Like Eli Manning was just flirting with a Hall of Fame trajectory, and he went to 2 Super Bowls, won the 2 Super Bowls. That's awesome.
Yep.
That's great. Phillip Rivers didn't get either, and he was flirting with Hall of Fame trajectory just because he had big stats. Like I think it's a lot easier to be flirting with that Hall of Fame trajectory than a lot of people are giving it credit to. And again, especially in this world of the NFL where, like I mentioned before earlier this week, being a top 7 quarterback in my mind, I think in other years in the past when you've had guys in their prime, when you had Phillip Rivers in his prime with Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, all these guys, Peyton Manning, playing all at really high highs, 7 meant a lot more then than it does now. At the same time, number 7 in the league is still a really good place to be in with a lot of young quarterbacks that are also going to potentially be flirting with Hall of Fame trajectories. You just have to make yourself stand out a little bit. I think winning that MVP, taking that mantle finally from ahead of all these other young quarterbacks before they can do that, gets you to that level. Winning a Super Bowl before all these other young quarterbacks can do that gets you to that level. I think he has that chance this season.
You're in the top 25% of NFL quarterbacks right now in the league. There's 32 teams. You're 7th. That's top 25%.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume most NFL teams would be very happy to have a top 25% quarterback running the controls of their team.
Mm-hmm.
Guaranteed. Now, is he 1? No. Is he top 3? No. Could he get there? Maybe. But a lot of stuff has to go right around him to get him into that situation going forward. Listen, when Aaron Rodgers came in, he didn't have this nonsense to deal with all these dudes that didn't know how to play football at the pro level. He had established wide receiver group. He was the guy that came in and had to adjust to everybody else. Jordan Love came in, hadn't started, and he was the vet in the huddle. And they were all looking at him for help. And he's like, dude, this is my first year. Like, chill, right? You got wide receivers running the wrong routes, everything else that first year. Then the second half of that year, boom, they beat Dallas and so forth. And that's the big highlight. Totally different. Now, Favre, that's different. Favre came into a mess too. So the Favre-Love comparison is a little bit closer. Was a way bigger mess for Brett than it was for Jordan Love. But the Rodgers thing, Rodgers fell into it all the way across the board. Got to sit behind a Hall of Fame quarterback, got to walk into a veteran-type situation, and got a really good play caller and quarterback developer in Mike McCarthy. Love fell into a really good play caller in LaFleur, fell into a really good quarterbacks coach in Matt LaFleur as well, but did not have the veteran receivers around him that had success prior to him getting there. They're all learning together and trying to build this thing towards the right pathway. So it is what it is, I guess you could say at the end of the day. All right, let's take a quick time out. Plead the Fifth, brought to you by Havish, and Rotier. National reputation, hometown service. That comes up next. Let me tell you about my friends over there at Wendy's. The Minions really wanted to impress their new big boss, Wendy's. So they cooked up some fun chaos for the fans. Say hello to the Minions and Monsters meal, featuring one of 4 unique collectibles. New Banana Frosty Swirl. Your choice of a big bacon classic or spicy chicken sandwich, plus a small fry. It's time to go bananas over this exclusive Wendy's experience, limited time only. And like I said earlier today, had a banana Frosty Swirl earlier today with the chocolate Frosty ice cream. So if you prefer the chocolate Frosty ice cream over the vanilla, they will gladly make it for you that way. And then it kind of tastes like a chocolate-covered banana, Charlie.
That's a good deal. I'd take that.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so coming up next, Plead the Fifth. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, out here at Summerfest, right by the Hole-in-One Challenge, brought to you by X Golf. $10 gets you 3 golf balls. First one to get a hole-in-one here at Summerfest gets $5,000.
What's that?
It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Summerfest, right by the Hole-in-One Challenge, brought to you by X Golf. $10 get you 3 golf balls. First one to get a hole-in-one out here at Summerfest gets $5,000. Why not spend the $10? Take your cracks at it, 3 golf balls. Josh is supposed to be down here. Josh Albrecht from Inside Wisconsin Sports supposed to be down here tonight. He's going to take a crack at it, and we doubt he's going to get it on the green at all. I'm pretty sure
I think he can
end up in the water.
I think he can get it at least one on the green.
No.
You have no faith?
0.
You were the one that said that bowlers and golfers, like, they both got a little bit of skill to them. Like, it's the same. Like, I think he can figure it out, right?
No. But we'll see. We'll see how it all goes. Maybe if Chuck Garbedian from Garbedian on Golf, Saturday morning, 7 to 9, maybe if Chuck gave Josh a lesson or 2 and then he went out there and did it, then maybe I'd feel more confident that it could get done.
Can you
Tommy
deny
works on the show. Hi,
Trevor Thomas? Trevor Thomas said Josh isn't eligible. Can you confirm that if Josh is like, if X Golf is willing to give him the $5,000 if he makes it, you are not saying he cannot have $5,000, right?
I do not know the correct answer to that. That would be a legal department question.
There wasn't a contract involved.
Right. Does Josh?
No, but there may well be a contract between X Golf and us being co-sponsors of the hole-in-one hole with Summerfest that very well may make him ineligible. Yes.
Oh, you can't. He can't even.
I
try
feel
that.
like Trevor is probably closer to being right than Josh.
All right, Trevor's our lawyer. Sounds good.
I think that could be right. I don't know that for sure. Maybe not. Maybe that's not in the contract.
Then Josh
that we
shouldn't even
signed.
try it, because if Josh does make it and then he can't win the
I'd be so
$5,000,
mad,
I'd be sick
I'd be
for
livid.
him. I'd be sick.
Tom, he's got a better chance of winning the lottery. Stop. He's not going to make it. Like, I'm not too worried
You
about
don't think
hitting
he's
him hitting a hole in one.
You don't think he's a little sneaky athletic?
No. No, I don't. No.
But you didn't think I was, and then you found out I was sneaky athletic.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So could he surprise? Yes. Will he? Probably not.
All right.
No.
Josh was a D1 college athlete.
Sure he was. Okay, so it is 4:20 on a Friday. Fitting that it's 4:20 after that conversation. Let's go. Hit the open.
It's a Plead the Fifth Friday, sponsored by Habish and Rotier. Who should have just kept their mouths shut? Who made a bad decision commenting on a topic they shouldn't have? Let's hear who you think should plead the fifth this week on Wisconsin Sports Daily. Served up by Wendy's with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer.
Woo! I just saw this come across my phone. Maybe it's old. Defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons of the Titans, 3 years, $105.8 million. Holy cow, man.
He must have really wanted to be a Titan. That's
3 at 105.
You
Hell,
can't
I'd
turn
be a
that
Titan. 3 at 105. Hey, speaking of crazy, apparently, while I was on the air, somebody came up and asked if I was a former pro athlete.
No, they didn't. Please,
I swear to you. That's on me, man.
You made Tommy come back.
This is garbage. All right, listen.
I'm telling you, man.
No one.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
Yes, hold on.
What, they think you were a jockey? Like,
no, come over here. Come over here. I'm getting my
get
headset.
this guy
down.
out of
Maybe
there.
they thought he was one of the
Sit down.
balls, you know?
Here, I'm switching headset. Here you go.
Who's this? Oh, dude,
What's
you're giving it.
going on,
This is PCA's like #1 supporter.
Oh,
Over
you
here.
mean the NL leader in war, PCA?
Yeah, this guy. See,
He's
that's what
kind
I
of
mean.
a dog right now, Tommy.
Oh,
I don't
my
know what to
God.
say.
Sparky,
Yeah.
please get back on here. This is Plead the Fifth for Sparky, just mailing it in with
4.5
minutes.
war before the All-Star break,
I
PCA, that
do
one?
not care. This is ridiculous. This is Boulder
Leader in
Dash.
5-star catches, PCA, is that who we're
How
talking
is
about?
Sparky letting him still stay on the air all here?
But yeah, I can't confirm. A man did walk up and ask if Sparky was a former pro athlete.
Did he confirm a
Did he
sport?
think he was the
Yeah.
football?
Yeah,
Like, what do you mean?
He's got a big white head, so maybe the baseball.
What is he supposed to be? What is? I don't
He-
understand what
he said-
sport. He's not playing basketball. You can
He
tell
said
that.
this was his second day in Wisconsin, so maybe he's just getting used to the locals.
Wow,
I don't know.
he thinks Sparky is in like
He's
the
got a
top
lot of people to meet,
1%
man.
of athletic
He's
looking
got a
people
lot
in
of people to meet.
Wisconsin.
Doesn't
That's
he look like it?
ridiculous.
Doesn't
All
he
right,
look like it?
I can't believe this. Plead the fifth. That guy.
What I tell you?
What is?
He told me. I said,
Plead
did you ask
the
him if he
fifth,
could
that
see?
guy.
He literally told me that in the break. I said, did you ask him if he could see okay? Like,
Did he hear you yelling at Jackson or something?
I don't know.
Ooh, professional yodeler or something? Yeah.
I mean, like
What's
you
a
said, top
sport?
1% athletically in the state. Just remember.
That's
Sure.
All right.
That's insane.
Stop or plead the fifth. What do you got, Charlie?
All right, so I got one here that from the Yankees game this past week over a couple days ago when Ryan Weathers was one of their starting pitchers. This is their Yankee silent reporter for, yes, jinxing the play for Ryan Weathers.
Ryan Weathers looked like a man on a mission in the first inning, retiring the side pretty quickly, and for good reason. His frustration was really boiling over when I spoke to him after his last start, telling me, I am sick and tired of putting this team in a hole.
Man, he might have done it again. That ball is long gone off the back wall of the bullpen.
So that was Meredith Marakovitz jinxing Ryan Weathers.
Do we believe that she jinxed him?
It sounds like he was struggling prior to the jinx, so maybe not.
There was.
But it is extremely bad timing to be talking about how he's getting over it.
So if you're Ryan Weathers and you hear that this happened, she was talking about this, and then he gives up the home run. Are you mad at her? Are you holding this against her?
No, I'm mad at myself for giving up a dong.
Just coincidental that it was her talking about it.
Right.
And then the announcer was like, and he just did it again. Like, that's the funniest part about the whole thing.
I think the funniest part is how she just cuts herself off immediately.
Yep.
Like right when she sees that and goes, and all right, never mind, I'm done talking.
Yep, all done. Maybe next time we don't do that story. Maybe not. All right, what's next?
Next up, this is Rams safety Cameron Curl. He was on Up and Adams with Kay Adams, and he was discussing about going to a World Cup game or maybe not.
Cam, who's winning the World Cup?
USA.
USA.
Yeah.
I love. Yeah, are you gonna go to any matches? How does that work? Are you like?
Nah, because they talking about we gotta pay full price.
Is that true? That's actually
Yeah.
that. I think I've heard that's true. You
It's
can't call,
crazy. Like, y'all in our stadium, but it is what it is. I'll watch it on TV.
you'll watch it and you'll maybe smell the grass at some point if you guys get it together and decide to
Yeah.
fight power.
I'm gonna just leave it out there.
Just leave it out there. Will you go water it every day? I think that's the problem.
I'll
Who's gonna
do it
water that?
myself.
I don't know about that.
Who was that?
Cam Curl, safety for the LA Rams.
Maybe he hasn't made a lot in his career. You think?
Probably not. I mean, like the tickets were pretty expensive though, Sparky. Like I put it on here because I didn't really know which side I agreed with, which one I decided should plead the fifth. Because initially it was, I think Cam Curl should plead the fifth because why are you complaining about spending thousands of dollars? You got thousands of dollars. But at the same time, it's kind of going back to like the FIFA, and I don't really want to agree with FIFA on a lot of things. So I would say FIFA could plead the fifth because these ticket prices are just outrageous in general. No matter how rich you are, it's still a crazy expensive ticket.
Cam Curl is currently on a 3-year, $36 million
he can afford it. Shut up. I don't want to hear any more about from Cam Curl about
Cam
that.
Curl plead the fifth.
Yeah, you need to stop making that much money. How much does he make? $12 million a year? Stop, man. Get out of here with that. I gotta pay full price. I don't want to go to a World Cup game. No, you make $12 million a year. You can go to every World Cup game if you want. Stop. Go ahead.
And last up here, this is one that you requested, Sparky. It is censored, so don't worry before you ask. This is Bruce Meyer on Baseball is Dead.
Hold on. Bruce Meyer is the guy that's representing the MLBPA in their negotiations with the owners in this little labor dispute they're having about the CBA expiring December 1st. Bruce Meyer was under Donald Fear, who was the last guy back in 94 or whatever when this labor dispute happened the last time and they missed all those games. He was a part of that group. And now he's in charge of the MLBPA instead of just being like second or third guy in charge. And I said when this guy got put in charge, it was the absolute worst case scenario for the owners because this dude is not going to care about missing games at all. And there is talk floating around out there in social media circles that the players are rolling with Scott Boras and what Scott Boras wants at the end of the day. And Bruce Meyer didn't like that.
My question would be, there's been a narrative, I think, that Scott Boras or other agents may be directing or shaping your guys' approach in these CBA talks. What is your response to that and some of that propaganda that's been thrown around?
Am I allowed to curse on this podcast?
Of course you are. Please.
It's total. It's something that, the league, I think, originally put out there because, again, the league and really management, it's true in any of these sports, they're all about trying to create divisions between, again, different kinds of players, between agents in the union. It's absolute nonsense. Look, Scott, obviously has made a lot of players a lot of money. If he has input, we'll listen to it. But I listen to input and solicit input from every agent. I mean, there's no agent too small to have useful input. For us, agents in general are in the trenches. They're the ones who are going to have to live with whatever we negotiate. I value them tremendously and have in all the sports that I've worked in. So again, it's a useful tactic to try and divide players.
Can I just be straight about this?
Sure.
If I was a player, I don't want my damn agent talking for me. We want to talk on behalf of ourselves. So you're having the agents talk for the players, the agents who obviously want as big a salaries as possible because they're getting a percentage of whatever they're signing these players to.
Right.
The agents essentially are lawyers at the end of the day. So you're having them represent you. I'm not a fan of that at all. Like if I was Bryce Harper and Mike Trout and these guys, no, we'll represent ourselves with Bruce Meyer. We don't need our agents involved. We'll tell Bruce what we want, and then he can tell us what he likes and what he doesn't like at the end of the day and go from there. I wouldn't want any of these guys involved. I said before, I think Scott Boras would be a phenomenal commissioner of MLB because I think a lot of his ideas make sense. And I could see how Meyer would get intimidated and would get mad when people are saying that he's doing everything. It's not Bruce Meyer. That's something to watch, though. If those two have a falling out and that players union splits and has to pick sides of who they're rolling with, that could be hugely beneficial to the owners. All right, time to take another quick timeout. We'll come back. Follow the money with Austin Herdini of the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook here at Summerfest by the Hole-in-One Challenge, brought to you by X Golf. $10 get you 3 golf balls. First one to hit a hole-in-one out here at Summerfest will win $5,000.
It's time to follow the money with Austin Herdina, the sportsbook manager of the Potawatomi Sportsbook on Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, I was told we have 2 minutes, Austin Herdina, because we talked too long in the last segment. I'm on remote. It's not my fault. What do you got, Austin Herdina? Top 3 games for people to bet on.
Top 3, we got Milwaukee Brewers tonight at the Braves. Brewers are minus 180. People are loving that.
What's the Miz strikeout number?
8.5.
All right, so last week you were criticizing people going over 9. He threw 15 strikeouts. What are you saying this week?
So I was wrong. I was wrong on that one, Sparky. This guy's looking like everything. He's looking like a Cy Young winner. I mean, he's the favorite right now to win the Cy Young.
So are you going over 8.5 tonight then?
I'm not touching it, but you know,
still you don't believe that. Don't tell me you believe, and then you say you won't go over 8.5. You still don't believe.
Braves got a tough lineup. All right, the total for the game is sitting at 7.5, and I don't know. I mean, Braves are a tough lineup, so I'm not jumping on it. I'd rather just sit back and enjoy it. But if you want to bet on this game, Miz over 8.5, Brewers minus 180. That's a good two little bets right there for you.
That's good. And how about this? A blue shirt for Mr. Austin Herdina today. Looking good, changing it up. I can tell that's blue. Okay, what's your next game?
We got just U.S. Open golf has been really people have been betting a lot of that. Pretty interesting tournament so far. You know, we have one guy that's really separated himself so far, Wyndham Clark at 7 under, but there's still a lot of guys in the running that, you know, a lot of big names too.
Never heard of a guy before in my life. I believe you, though. I'm sure he's probably pretty good. Austin, thank you so much for coming on. I'm sorry we cut you short. That was unfair to you. That'll do it for Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook here at Summerfest. Come on out, say hi. We'll be back here next Thursday. Tommy Wirtz, the big old hunk of love, coming up next with an in-depth breakdown of the June numbers for Jake Bowers. Don't turn that channel.